All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you all are welcome to the Sincere Research Academy live after medical school orientation. Of note, we are a research organization based in Cameroon, and we've been existing for over 3 years now. Our objective is to make the journey of research very easy or friendly to any early career researcher. We've had very brilliant experiences in the past and also challenges. But one thing that makes our annual program very unique is the fact that we try to ensure that the medical students who went through their final year courses with us actually have a passing on from undergraduate to postgraduate life and what to anticipate. Exceptionally, this 2022, we are allowing those who were not part of the program to have access to these opportunities, this mentorship session we're going to have, unlike what we had in the past. So the program is going to be very straight to the point, and I'm just going to do this. The first part is we're going to have an introduction, and the introduction has already started. And then we're going to have key presentations from our keynote speakers. We're going to just discuss at the end of the discussion from our keynote speakers, we're going to have like a discussion on how do you think the doctor's job market is currently, and then how we think from all the presentations our keynote speakers are going to give, how we think you should work towards building your CV. And then just in resume all what our presenters would have shared, we'll give you the things after school, things you need to anticipate, the things you need to do immediately. Most of you just completed, all of you just completed defending, none has graduated yet. So the objective now is you can prepare yourself prior to graduation and those things you need to do. So basically we're going to have 5 minutes of introduction, and the introduction is going to go this. I'm just going to stop my screen share, and we're going to just let anyone feel free to introduce yourself by giving us your name, your faculty, and where you're joining us from. You can be in Cameroon or outside Cameroon. If you want to specify Cameroon, you can specify the country, the region where you're coming from. So we'll give 5 minutes. Those who will be able to introduce themselves, we're going to take that, and then from there we're going to move. So just your name, the school you're coming from, where you are joining us from, and your particular region or country where you're joining us from, basically. So the floor is open. You can unmute and then go further. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Lemunde Mifiero from the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya. I'm joining from Cameroon, present in the West region.
All right. Thank you very much, Lemunde. Who's going next?
Everyone. I'm from Derry, Faculty of Health Science, University of Boya, joining from Boya.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Derek. Who's next?
I am. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I am Sam Dixon Asef, Doctor of Health Sciences of the University of Bamenda, and I'm joining from the Northwest region, precisely in Bamenda.
Welcome, Dr. Dixon. Who's next?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Cynthia Degula from the School of Health and Medical Science, Katuk, Bamenda, but I'm joining from Yaoundé.
Thank you for joining us, Cynthia. You're welcome.
Good evening. Boke Salem here from the Faculty of Health Science, University of Boya. I'm currently joining from Douala.
You're welcome, Saleh. What's next? Hello.
Good
We have
evening,
60
doctors.
more seconds. Yes, good
Good
evening.
evening. I'm Pascal Wandum from the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya. I'm joining from Kumba, Southwest region of Cameroon.
All right, thank you very much.
Good evening, dear all.
Good evening.
I am Anombo Wellesley Fulemu from the Faculty of Health Science, Bamenda. I'm joining from Bamenda.
All right, thank you very much, Leslie. You're welcome. Who's next?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Mambo Trudy from School of Health and Medical Science, Katu. I'm joining from Bamenda.
You're welcome, Dr. Mambo. Who's next?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alimatu Shadia from the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya. I'm currently joining from Boya.
You're welcome, Alima. Who's next? We have like 30 seconds for this.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Oh.
Good evening.
Yeah, we can get you.
Ategwa Franklin. I graduated from Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya, and I'm currently in Boya.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc, and thank you for joining. I think Sandra, your hand has been raised. Nikam, Sankam, yes, your hand has been raised. You can unmute and talk, it's fine. Sankara, sorry. Yeah. All right, Zedoni, you have the floor. I think you'll be the last person we're taking. Other person who have not spoken will get your introductions. You can also drop it in the chat and we'll move.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Oponde Zedoni from the Faculty of Health Science, University of Boya. I'm presently in Kumba.
All right, great. Okay, thank you very much. We are happy to have you. We have a handful of doctors who are keynote speakers. We have a handful of doctors who are going to be adding on to what our keynote speakers have shared at the end. So you have a very good resource for your orientation. Of note, this is not a 10 commandment that will be giving you to succeed after medical school, but there are guides from our little experience so that you don't make the mistakes we've made. All right. So I'm going to be sharing again who our keynote speakers are going to be, and from there we're just going to kickstart with their presentations. All right. Thank you very much. There's no one to project. Sorry, a minute. Please, once you can see my screen, you let me know. Sorry for the glitch. Okay, so for our presentation today, we are having a good number of doctors with us, like earlier said. So I'm just going to read through who they are, and then we're going to give the floor straight up to our very first speaker. Again, these persons will be talking to us based on their experiences and based on real life examples. It's not something that is we are hypothesizing, but we're giving you from our experience what has been able to work for a good number of persons and how you can look at that and decide if it's going to work for you or which among the several options that's going to be your path. So basically, that's what we're going to be sharing. So we have Dr. Ebiambu MD, who is a graduate from the University of Boya. She's currently a clinical fellow and a graduate research associate with NetPro, where she's a co-lead. And currently, she completed her master's in public health. So she's going to be sharing with us the opportunities that are in Europe and the UK in particular for you medical students based on her story and basically what has been working for most of them who are there in the UK. We also have Dr. Dennis Sam, who's a medical doctor. He's a Commonwealth scholar. He's currently in his final year with a master's in public health with the University of Edinburgh. He's the program coordinator for Plan Canada. He's working internationally. He has coordinated several projects. Dr. Sam today is going to be sharing with you opportunities that are in the NGO/project world for medical doctors and how you can position yourself as a fresh medical graduate in Cameroon to get those opportunities. At least you have one person who has gotten it, so it means you can, if you do the needful, you're going to be part of it. We also have Dr. Fumo Misseline, who is a medical doctor as well with the Ministry of Public Health Cameroon. She just completed her master's in public health at Emory University. She's also a Villers scholar. A Villers scholar it's one of the scholarships available for medical graduates in Belgium. So she's going to be sharing with us this unique opportunity she had, which many persons have not been exposed to in the past. So basically, that's it. We have Dr. Tchinde Marius, who is a medical doctor. He's also a clinical biologist with a BSc in clinical biology. And currently, he's a resident surgeon at the Pan-African College of Christian Surgeons here in Cameroon. He's going to be sharing us Cameroonian opportunities, especially for specialization and work in the non-public sector. So that's where he's going to come in. And last but not the least is Dr. Joseph Omengia, who's a medical doctor. He's also a holder of the Masters of Applied Public Health by the University, the Free University of Belgium. And he's an RS alumni. He had the RS scholarship, which is also one of the flagship scholarships in Belgium for most of us medical graduates. And he's currently a first-year resident physician in the US. So he's going to be sharing with us opportunities that are available for medical doctors in the US, within the clinical and outside the clinical setting, and how you can position yourself for these opportunities. So these are our keynote speakers, but of note, we've invited more than this. We have other doctors in the call who are going to just be sharing their experience at the end of this and guides for you people to be better than who we are. So your moderator and coordinator for this call is Dr. Cynthia Ngek, the lead trainer at, and founder of Cynthia Research Academy. My own 1 cent I'll be adding to this presentation, it's the skills you need to build to help you earn some extra earnings and also build a portfolio or a CV at the end of your first couple of years as a medical doctor. So we're going to move straight to the presenters. If you are anxious about getting what these doctors who have presented to you will be sharing, please unmute and say something. Or if you just want to clap. If you're anxious about this, then I'll be waiting to get that feedback from you all listening. Thank you. Hello.
Yes, doctor, we are with you. Um, I just wish to say, if I can, that from the presentation that you're giving, I feel like this is a webinar I'm going to learn a lot from, because our guest speakers are very interesting. They have very interesting portfolios. That's just all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Boke. Any other feedback? All right. Without much ado, we're going to be passing on to the first speaker. So, Dr. Ebiambu Aguara. She happens to be my mentee who became my mentor, and I'm very, very much impressed with the progress we've seen so far. But I'll be listening, and I have my pen and paper kept down to jot down notes, because I'm also learning from you. So, Doc, welcome, and thank you for answering our call, and thank you for always supporting our juniors. And despite your very busy schedule and awkward times that I keep disturbing you to give support, you've always been there. Thank you for reaching out, and thank you for being here. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Cynthia. Oh, let me just stop all this formality. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for that. Thank you for that introduction. I hope you all can hear me well.
515.
All right, nice. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share my experience. I mean, like I always say, the sky is big enough for everybody to fly, for us to make it, to conquer. So I'm happy to share my 1 or 2 bits from my very little experience, because I don't have. When I start with people like Dr. Cynthia, I cannot speak, I cannot talk. So these are my bosses and my seniors. Some of us are still struggling to learn. Don't mind him, he's still my mentor. So without much further ado, I'll just go straight into the presentation. So I was asked to come and talk about moving to the UK as a doctor, moving to Europe, but I'll really focus my presentation on the UK because I'm very comfortable, and I'm currently in the UK. I am in St. Helens, and I understand the system best compared to any other area. So I'll like to talk more about what I know very well. So I'll just like to share my screen. I tried to do some little PowerPoint to make it serious. Let not be as if I'm just coming here to come and play with people.
Thank you.
Okay. I
can see your screen.
Don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, so thanks once again for this. I am Dr. Ebiambu Aguara. I am a medical doctor from the 8th batch of the Faculty of Health Sciences. I graduated in 2020. Batch of fortitude, please. I've seen Dr. Chengang. I've seen a few of my other mates here. Dr. Atigua, I hail. We're the best batch. Don't mind. Batch of unity, they're all joking. They're still playing. I'm just joking anyway. So yeah, I graduated from the Faculty of Health Sciences in 2020. Then I worked a little bit in Cameroon for I think about 8 months at the Mbopi Baptist Hospital. And after that, I moved to the UK to come and do a master's in public health at the University of Wolverhampton. And during that same period, 1 year, I wrote my PLABs, got registered with the General Medical Council, and I currently work as a clinical fellow at the St. Helens and Knowsley NHS Trust, Wiston Hospital to be precise. So I'll just start talking. So what are the options that you really have when you want to come to the UK? So you can come to the UK to study an advanced degree like I did, come and do a master's in public health, or a master's degree in general, or a PhD, you know, or fellowship. You can come to the UK to do a non-training job as a doctor. So you're actually a medical doctor, but you're not into training. I don't know, my screen has just frozen. I hope it's okay. So I don't know if there was some glitch somewhere. I don't know if you guys are still hearing me, Cynthia.
Yeah, I can get you 5 on 5. And from my end, there wasn't any glitch.
Oh, okay, thank you. So you could come and start working on a non-training job. So you're not in the process of specialization, as we call it in Cameroon. And you could come and then you get into training and you start your specialization in your desired field. So the regulatory body is the General Medical Council, like the CMC, in Cameroon. So these are the people, this is where you need to get your license from to be able to practice in the UK. As we go on, I'm going to talk more about my experience and how I did certain things that helped me, you know, integrate quite fast compared to some other people who spend some more time. But it's all a learning experience, and I'm happy that I could stand on the shoulders of people who had come before me, people who gave me so many ideas on how to do things, and I learned from their mistakes and I made sure I did not do those things, and that's because they shared it with me. So I'm happy to share all of that with you guys. So what are the grades of doctors in England, in the UK in general? What are the grades for doctors in the UK? So you have, in the UK, when medical school is 6 years, and then after that, they do foundation year 1 and year 2. So this is like our housemanship. So we know ideally housemanship should be 1 year. We do 6 months in a community health center and 6 months in a teaching hospital. So that's 1 year. So they have 2 years for that. Foundation year 1, and during this period they have a provisional license, and then after their foundation year 1, their housemanship, when you're cleared and you can proceed, they now have they now give them a full license to practice. So with a full license, you do not need any supervisor or anything. You could prescribe, you can do all of that stuff without anybody really signing it off for you. But with a provisional license, you have to write, and then some other senior person has to countersign. And that's what most of us from outside really get, because getting into foundation year 1 here, it's really, really competitive. The spaces are not as much for the students themselves. So imagine you coming from outside to come and compete with people who already have limited space. So most international medical graduates try to get opportunities directly into foundation year 2, where they get their full registration. And so after your foundation training, you now register into your core training. So that's like your specialty training. If you want to do surgery, medicine, obs and gyns, pediatrics, you now apply into that particular specialty. Core training usually lasts 2 to 3 years, depending on which specialty it is. Medicine used to be 2 years, but then now it is 3. Some others 2, some others 3. It just depends. And then during this core training period, you're writing your membership exam. So that's like your MRCP, your MRCS, you know, the one for pediatrics, the ones for obs and gynae. You're trying to clear all of those things, because you need to clear them before you get into the registrar level. And then you have the middle grade, where you're a registrar, and At the very last end that all of us are hoping to get to at the end of the day, you become a consultant, you become a specialist. And what we call GP, so here a GP is a specialty, it's like family medicine, and it takes 3 years to complete. So it's shorter than the other, maybe medicine, surgery, pediatrics. So many people do get into GP training, given its short duration and fast way of making money quickly. So yeah. Like I said, entry into the UK can be at any level, but the the SHO level is the easiest for us. And I think that's where I'm going to really focus at, because that's how I entered. So what are the different entry pathways that you have? The first one is the PLAB, right? Now, the PLAB exam is like your board exam. It's like the board exam that you have to take as an international medical graduate to prove that you're really qualified and you can practice in the UK. You're safe. You're a safe medical doctor. You know what to do. You can practice. Now, for you to be able to come in under the PLAB routes, the first thing you need to do is get your English sorted. What many people fail to understand is that this English that we're running away from, you follow us everywhere. It's following also. So the earlier you get your English sorted, the better. But there is a catch, because it expires after a particular period. It expires within 2 years. And once it's expired, you have to rewrite it. And you don't want to continue spending all that money. I think the last time I wrote IELTS in 2020, it was about 161,000, if I'm not mistaken. And OET is even more expensive. Unfortunately, it is the easier option, but we do not have OET in Cameroon. So it's written in Nigeria and very few other African countries. But we have IELTS, and the IELTS that is required for GMC registration is the academic IELTS. It's not the general IELTS. And academic IELTS is tough. It's not easy. Many people write these exams 2 times, 3 times and fail. I wrote 1 time. And what did I do? When I registered for the exam, I paid for a course online for IELTS, academic. I had a course that I paid for I think 3 to 4 weeks, and I prepared for the exam. So we need to understand that everything that you do, in order to attain a particular goal or to achieve something, you need to prepare. You cannot just go into that exam thinking you're just going to write. No, my dear, it's very likely that you fail. No matter how intelligent you think you are, it is tough. There are 4 parts. You have speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Now, speaking is, I think that's not the toughest. The toughest is writing and reading. That's where many people don't get it. And there is a particular cutoff that is required. There's a particular cutoff that is required for you. So you need to have at least 7 in all of this. So once you have that, make sure that you do your best, prepare for this exam and get it sorted. Then you will now apply. You now write the PLAB exams. You have, I'm going to dive into the specific details of each of the exams. So the PLAB route, you'll be able to enter at SHO level. Another way that you can go in is to write your specialty exams, your MRCP, MRCS exams, and then apply for license. Now, this takes more years and it's harder because the level of questions that they'll ask you is at a higher level, maybe registrar level, and you might not be very prepared for that, given the different systems that we all work and live in. Or you can apply directly as a specialist, but I don't think that's possible for Cameroon. Now, how much is PLAB? That's like the main question that everybody asks me. The first thing is you have 2 parts. You have PLAB 1, PLAB 2. So like I said, you have the English exams. Once you're done with your English exams and you have at least 7 in each of them and overall at least 7.5 or 9, then you can now create a GMC account and then you log in. When you log in, you'll now be able to book for your PLAB 1. Now, PLAB 1 can be taken anywhere in the world. So you have it's written in the UK or in some other countries. We don't write it in Cameroon, but it's written in Nigeria, Ghana, I think South Africa, Kenya, and Egypt, in Cairo. It's about 180 multiple choice questions, and usually it would take about 2.5 to 3 months to prepare. Now, I use 6 weeks to prepare. Why? Because I was preparing within my holiday period while I was doing my master's degree. So I used a shorter time to prepare. So it is possible. Some people even use 3 weeks and they write the exam. They don't just carry it on your head and say, oh, some people use 3 weeks. You need to also weigh how much knowledge you have. If you've been out of practice for a while, it's not just going to come like that. So those are things that you need to take into consideration. And you have question banks like Plappable, Med Revisions, Plap Keys. You can check all of these things. They're all online. How much does it cost? Now, the cost would depend on where you're writing it. So if you're going, for example, we don't write in Cameroon. So you might have to go to maybe say Nigeria to write it or Ghana to write it. And it might cost about £850 if you're going to a country that has less visa procedures. If you don't have to pay too much, then that's around how much it can cost. The exam itself costs about £250 to pay for. Then you have PLAP 2. Now, PLAP 2 is like the practical exam. It's written only in the UK, in the Manchester Center. So there are 2 centers now in Manchester where you write the exam. You have 16 stations, and each station is 10 minutes. A station where they'll put a patient, you see a patient within 10 minutes, no, within 8 minutes now, you should see a patient. Sorry, that's this 10 minutes here, it's wrong, it's the old one. You'd see a patient, clerk the patient, and then manage the patient, you know, say your management and everything within 8 minutes. You should be able to do that. So it's really strongly advised to take preparatory classes for these exams. And you have classes in Manchester, in London. There's so many of them. So I use Samson, you have Aspire, there's so many exams. You just need to find the right one that works for you. Samson is good. It's very stressful, but I mean, we all did it and we've gone through it. The exam itself costs about £900, and then the preparatory classes cost about £600. Remember that during this preparation, you'll be examining, sometimes you'll be examining a patient, sometimes it might be a mannequin. And so you want to practice in a place where you actually start doing all of that. So Samsung will provide you with dummies and all that to learn, even placing IV lines and everything the way they do here. You have all of that during the classes. So it's really advised that you get preparatory classes. How do you write PLAP 2? You need to get a visitor's visa. It's given, it's quite easily given, and then you can come over. Or if, for example, you're in the UK during that period, for example, I was in the UK doing my master's during that period, I was able to write the exam. I know that time is catching up, so I'm trying to just rush over it very quickly. So once you've passed both parts of these exams and your English has not expired, hopefully within 2 years, then you can apply now for your GMC license. Now, this is a bit where I'm really going to pause and say, there's so many things that you need to take into consideration. There are letters that you're going to need from the faculty, then the letters that you might need from your employers now. And so one thing I'll say is keep your relationships very well. Maintain contacts with people that you think they are going to help you. They'll need to sign those documents. So what happened for me was there were letters that I needed, and I was able to get it because I had maintained those relationships with these particular people, with these professors, with these medical doctors who had to give me references. And so it was easy for me to even call them and say, see, Prof, I need this letter for so time, and maybe I need it urgently, but that's because of how your relationship. So if your relationship is bad, trust me, especially the dean. So if you're wise and you want to move, please just go and start fixing your relationship with him, because there are certain letters that he will really need to sign. And then you can now apply for a job and you move to the UK. Some jobs will sponsor you, like they'll give you sponsorship for your visa. Some will not sponsor you. After the few months of working, you can now apply and get into your specialty training. So let's say scenario one, a doctor based in Cameroon wants to move to England and settle. She applies for a full scholarship, maybe to study her master's. When she comes here, while she's doing her master's degree, she's writing these exams. It is not going to be easy. Maybe the way I'm saying it, you think it is easy. It is not going to be easy. It has been very, very challenging. But one thing is, once you're intentional about what you really want, you put your head and your heart to it. So you will work hard knowing that I don't have another option. If I do this, okay, maybe you'll say, okay, with my MPH, I might go and find an NGO to work with. I might go back and do that. But if you really don't want to do that, and you know that, yes, MPH maybe was for just research and you want to do clinical medicine as well, then you put in everything you can to make sure that this particular thing goes through, right? Do your best. What I did was, during my program was for 15 months. When I had my first semester, I had written my IELTS before leaving Cameroon. So I had passed and I was coming to the UK knowing that, okay, IELTS is sorted. Next thing is PLAB 1, right? I had gone to the faculty, and luckily, like I said, I had seniors who told me what letters to get. So there were certain letters that I had even gotten before even leaving Cameroon. And it's good to get some of those things, because when you're not there, it's hard to communicate and send people to the faculty all the time. So there's certain things that I had gotten already before leaving, and I had them here just waiting. So when I was coming, and the only thing in my head was PLAB 1, PLAB 2. Now, I started my master's and I had my first semester. As my first semester was coming to close, I had to make sure I register for my PLAB 1 during my holiday period. And luckily for me, because PLAB 1 happens 4 times in a year, one of those periods fell during my break between my first semester and my second semester. So that was the break that I used to sit down and say, okay, I'm clearing this. And because I knew that I did not have time to fill a course and receipts, and because during your break, if you fail, you have to be preparing to rewrite that course. So I had to make sure that I clear my master's program very well and then use my break to prepare for my PLAB exam. So that was how I did it. PLAB 2, I had finished my semester 2 and I was writing my dissertation. During that period, I, dedicated a few weeks to just study, attend the classes, and get that one sorted. Then I fell back into my dissertation. That's the only way you can make it, except that you want to finish and then go back now to Cameroon and start writing the whole thing again, because you're here, and if you have the opportunity to do it, then just do it. Dr. Cynthia, please, I'm sorry that I'm taking much time, but maybe I'm just trying to explain the whole thing very well. So please permit me a few more minutes. And then after that, you work for 3 months. Once you've gotten it, you could work for at least 3 months. And then there's a particular document that you need to get signed off by a consultant here. Once that is signed off, you can now apply for any specialty that you want. Remember that here in the UK, you can apply for any specialty irrespective of your passport or your nationality, because doctors are now classed under short skill. So they're limited. And so they've opened it up for everybody. It's not like, let me say, an accountant or tech, where they'll prioritize a UK person over a foreigner. So unless they have somebody from the UK who does not qualify before they'll look for a foreigner. Once they have somebody, now with doctors, once you're qualified, you stand an equal chance to fight for it like every other person. And then you have another doctor who might write PLAB 1 in Nigeria, come to the UK, write PLAB 2, and then apply for a job from Cameroon, Now, the UK too can be used as a shortcut. So maybe if you want to go to the US, you could come here, start off, work in a private hospital, which is less busy, and then write your USMLE at the same time and move over. There are a few doctors who have done that and they're doing very well in the US. One thing to note is everywhere has its advantages and its disadvantages. So just weigh it accordingly and decide. Once you choose what you want, focus on it and take that path and go. So I think this should be my last slide. What do you do? How do you get the first job? So if you listen to testimonies or testimonials from doctors who graduated 5, 6, 7 years ago, they'll tell you, oh, it's easy to go in. Oh, the system is okay, it's okay, it's okay. But now there is so much competition. Everybody wants to get in. So you really need to make yourself competitive. You really need to stand out to be able to get that first job. And usually this is the breakthrough from what they have told me. So I am in my first job, but from what they have told me, getting your first job is the main part, because after this, once you have UK experience, it's easy to move and transition and get into specialty training and all of that. The first thing I'll advise is finding a clinical attachment in a hospital in the UK. If you're able to find a clinical attachment, that gives you experience. And that was what I did. So I went and I looked for consultants in a hospital. I just sent emails to people. So you go to a hospital, each hospital has an education and training center, because they are also teaching hospitals. I was just calling, I was just asking, I want to come and do clinical attachment for free. I don't need any payment. I just want to get experience. I will shadow, I will observe, you know. And one consultant agreed, and that was how I got it, right? Another thing is you can find it with organizations that arrange it. So for example, I just found it yesterday that Plabable actually arranges clinical attachments, but you have to pay. And honestly, okay, it's fine. If you want to, it's good. But if you can actually, so if you're from out of the UK, I might say it's better to go for this one where you have to pay, because they will now give you the letters that you can use to apply for a visa. But if you're already in the UK, you can just find a hospital, find a consultant and shadow them. You know, some hospitals ask you to pay, but I don't think it's as much as this. Some hospitals charge you maybe £200, maybe £250. But where I am, I did not pay for anything. So I just applied and the consultant agreed and to supervise me, because the main thing is getting somebody that will supervise you, because most consultants here don't have time. So they cannot just take you and then send you to anybody or tell that just go and be moving around like that. No, you need to have somebody that will say, okay, I'm going to be in charge of this particular person, send her to me. So that was what I did. The next thing is getting advanced life support or PLS for pediatrics. It's very important, because they need to know that you can do resuscitation. That's one of the key things, especially in SHO level posts where you're a senior house officer, you're able to make certain decisions. They need to make sure. Now, this is costly, because the only one they recognize is the one from the Resuscitation Resuscitation Center in the UK. And usually it costs about £400, £500. So another alternative which I used was ACLS, BLS, and PALS, which is like below it, but at least it shows that you know what this is, you know what you're supposed to do, and you're ready to train. Some hospitals might pay for your training when you start working, some might not, but this already gives them the impression that, oh, okay, you know what's up, you know. And then have interest in research, teaching, audits, quality improvement, you know, they really like that. Interest in the particular specialty that you want, and leadership roles. If you have these things on your CV, trust me, I think getting a first job will be easy. But it's not just as if you just leave Cameroon and catwalk into it the way it was in 2015. Things have changed. It's a lot more competitive. So I also want to prepare you mentally. Don't think that it will just be so easy for you. There are days when I'll sit down, I'll feel, I'm like, oh, I'm applying. Why are they not calling me? It's because there were certain things that I needed that I did not have. And I had to understand that, oh, I need to get this and this and this and this. And once I got all of those things sorted, I got my first job. So these are just a few things I would have to say. Like I said, be very determined, be very intentional about what you want, because it is that particular determination that will make you look beyond the stress and the suffering that you're going through and say, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Let me focus. Let me do this. Let me do that. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, mentor. Thank you very much. My key nugget from that is be very intentional about what you want to do. Secondly, identify what you want and stick to it until it happens. It's very important. Some of us tend to think that we can do several things at the same time, which is a fat lie. Thank you very much, Dr. Ebiambu. It was a pleasure having you. If you found this presentation rewarding, please, we need feedback in the chat. You can drop your questions. We're going to attend to them at the end of the session. We're going to answer everybody's questions. So drop your questions, say whatever you learned, say your appreciations. I've dropped my nuggets that I learned from my mentor, and I'm happy. Another mentor is coming on board again. So next we have is Dr. Dennis Sam. Dr. Dennis Sam is project and program manager, Plan Canada. Plan is going to talk about his company, but it's an international organization. And Dr. Dennis Sam is a medical graduate from Cameroon, University of Boya. So again, it's possible you can be there. You have seen somebody who has gone there, so you can be there. That's what I'm telling you. That's why we're bringing people who are very close to you to know that it's doable. And Dr. Dennis Sam is doing his MPH. Despite the work, he's doing his MPH concurrently, and at the University of Edinburgh. Again, you can still be there. So, Dr. Sam, you have the floor to tell us about project opportunities, NGO opportunities. From your experience, what do we need to learn from you, mentor? Thank you very much for answering present for this presentation.
Thank you very much, Doc, and good evening to everyone. Greetings from over here. And I just want to thank Dr. Cynthia for bringing me to share my experience with the team. I am very grateful for this opportunity. I think preparation to get into the job market after medical school is a challenge for everyone. And at times it comes with a lot of questions and a lot of difficulties that it's important to maybe gain inspiration or learn lessons from those who have walked the path before you. So I, like Dr. Ngek said, I am a program manager in the Global Fund unit in, I work with Plan International Canada, but I am actually based in Cameroon. I work with, actually the Global Fund unit within Plan Canada is a unit that provides technical support to Plan International country offices that are implementing Global Fund projects. And just to give a bit of context, actually Plan International is not like, it's an organization actually, but it's considered a federation. So actually they are plan offices like what we have mostly in Africa and so on that implement programs. Those ones, they mostly depend on other plan organizations. So we have country offices in the level of Africa. So Plan Cameroon, Plan Nigeria, Plan Zimbabwe, all of them, they are country offices. And then we have what we call the national organizations. These other plan offices, they are mostly based in developed countries, and they are mostly involved in sourcing funding and doing some networking to get funds and then support the other plan offices. And then we have what we call the regional offices that oversee country offices, and we have what we call the global hub that is like the overseer of all the federations. So it's actually mixed, and the leadership at times is different. So Plan Cameroon doesn't probably report to Plan Canada and so on, but then they have a kind of a federation, so they have where they meet and take decisions together. So I just wanted to put that in context because like I said, I work with Plan International Canada, and I am providing technical support to the Global Fund 2 projects in Plan International Guinea. So in Guinea, we have two projects. One is an HIV/TB project where we are principal recipients from the Global Fund. There is a chief of party there with a couple of staff, and this project covers the whole Guinea country. And we have another project, the malaria project, and we are sub-recipients. The main recipient in this case is CRS in Guinea, and so we are a sub-recipient for the malaria project. So I oversee two different, a portfolio of two projects in Guinea. And my history, when I left medical school, I worked with the Cameroon Baptist Convention first. I worked with them, actually did a 9 months practical experience. I just want to give this so that when I'll be explaining, you probably understand. I did a 9 months practical experience with the HIV-free project. And this was my first step into public health. And actually, I worked in the Southwest region. It was HIV-free project, and I was mostly in the Southwest. And I covered a couple of villages, and I was actually, that is where I learned everything that has to do with supportive supervision, community health practice, which is somehow a bit different from what we may have learned in school, but it was some sort of an upgrade. And I later on went to work as a clinical mentor with HIV Free Center, all of this with the Cameroon Baptist Convention. And later I went back to the Southwest and I worked as a site manager for the project at the level of the Boya Regional Hospital, where I oversaw the implementation around the area. So leaving from there, I actually then joined Plan International Canada. And when I left, actually, at times, in Cameroon, we have had a lot of, I would say, misinformation about what NGO jobs are all about. And to be honest, at times, the orientation we get actually makes us not to do the right things. And I want to say that please get your information from the right sources, because at some point I had to close my ears to a lot of things to focus on trying to understand what is actually happening. I would just share an experience on how I got the job with Plan Canada. Actually, it was online. And after working for some time, I actually wanted to make a change and I wanted to step into the international field, into global health. So I made the first move, and that was to search. And I will tell you, it wasn't an easy thing searching. I had to go through different websites. I had to spend enormous time on LinkedIn, trying to find out the different organizations, trying to understand what they do, the various staffs, the people with whom I connected on LinkedIn. I tried to look through their profiles to see what they did, where they had been to, the kind of work they did, and so on. And I had to try to network with so many people, go to these websites over and over again, and I applied for several jobs. When I finally was called for, because when they finally selected my resume, I was called up to for the first thing that was done was a written examination. They sent me an exam I wrote, and after which I passed. And they then called me for what they call a screening. They did a screening to see if I was eligible to move to the first round of interviews and then the second round of interviews. Before all this took a period of about 6-7 months before I was finally confirmed. And given that I by then I don't have the work permit to work in Canada, I had to sign my contract with Plan Cameroon. It was actually a local contract. But what I actually wanted to base my mind on was to gain that experience. Now, I just want to share this to encourage everyone and to say, first of all, the ideas we get is that NGO jobs are difficult to get, they are impossible. And even when I was applying and failing, that never stopped me, because before getting one, I will tell you I sent out probably over 100. Now, when I got in, there was a day I decided to take a walk to the human resource, and I just asked her the question. And when I got in, she was looking through, there was an opening and people had applied. And so I was just having a friendly conversation with her. And my question was, okay, so just tell me how it goes about here. And she just turned and she showed me a huge pile of CVs, over 150. And that position needed to be filled probably in, say, a month or two. And she was the only one, and she was expected to pre-select as an HR officer a number of CVs, which would then be handed to the technical team. Because in NGOs, when the head of that department requires a staff, you don't go out as head of department to recruit. You go to the HR department and you tell them, this is the kind of staff, this is what I want. The HR department launches the position, people then send in their CVs. And based on what some of the basic things that are required, the HR department is then They pre-select because the technical department will not have the time to go through 150, 200 CVs. So the HR department pre-selects probably say about 10, 15 out of the 150 or 300 CVs that came in. And that is when they then send out to the technical department, where they then look through and they can decide if they are sending out the written exams or calling people for interviews. And it dawned on me, actually, one of the major reasons why we often have that challenge. And she told me she spends a little over 30, 40 seconds per CV. And yes, that is what happens. So it tells you, if your CV doesn't sell you in 30 seconds, you have lost that position. You can't even move to the next step, because you're not the only one vying for that position. There are many more people who are there to get that same position you're vying in for. So in 30 seconds, she makes a decision whether this person has been pre-selected or not, because she doesn't have the time. So she just looks at it, 1, 2, 3 seconds. She places it either on the side of those selected, or she just puts it in the trash. And most often we may end up saying, well, to get in, you need bribe and so on. Well, I wouldn't take out that possibility. It exists, but I want to say that even in medical school, the fact that we are here tells us that we are the selected ones. And I will not say selected in terms of pride, I will say selected in terms of hard work. So yes, it is possible to get some of the jobs. It's possible to get jobs in places you didn't even imagine, because all my supervisor is not in Cameroon. She's not a Cameroonian, but the only thing I do with Plan Cameroon is probably an office space. Actually, I have really barely nothing. I cannot tell you what happens in Plan Cameroon because I'm not a technical staff of Plan Cameroon. I have absolutely no idea. The only thing I get with them maybe is them paying my salary and we're giving me a space to work. But I had to get to people and go through processes that with people I knew nothing about them, and I actually, well, thank God I got it. But I want to say at times, don't give up, keep doing what you're doing, but make sure you're selling yourself as much as possible. Let your CV speak for you. Please, my advice to everyone leaving medical school, the first thing you should invest in is not going to start buying new suits. Yes, you need the suits to brandish here and there, but please go back and invest in your CV. Take courses that will help you know how to put up a CV that sells your skills. What I realized is there are a lot of us who know so many things. We have the skills, we have the knowledge. You can do so many things, but then your CV doesn't even give a tenth of what you know or what you can do. So when somebody looks at your CV, they don't see a representation of you. They see just some paper there. And most often, a lot of us don't take it serious. After all, it's just a CV. I can prove what I know. Sorry, the HR person is the first person who receives your CV. The HR person has nothing to do with your technical skills. The HR person has nothing to do with medicine. They have nothing to do with they have nothing to do with the skills and so on. All they know, they have maybe an idea to look at some of the skills and to make sure that you meet the basic requirements that that job expects or requires, and then they can then forward it to the technical team who will make the final decision. So if you cannot sell yourself to that CV, to that human resource person, sorry, your CV doesn't even get to that person who may or may not decide your fate when it comes to getting that position. It's the same thing with public health as a whole. There are a lot of organizations out there that people want to work with. They are passionate about it, but then they cannot get there because of the fact that they cannot sell themselves. And I want to say this. Secondly, after selling yourself, please, my humble advice to everyone, don't just get a great CV, get a great personality. You know, it's going to be very embarrassing for you to give out a CV that talks about someone who does magic and you get there and you can barely do what you said you can do. That is just, it brings down your reputation to, you know, a level you cannot even imagine. And I'll tell you, some of these organizations, they do background checks, they get into contact with your previous HR managers and so on. And so imagine that you go somewhere, you can't do what you have to do. Even if you advise and get the next job, by the time they contact your former organization, the feedback they will give about you may not be very helpful to get you that position you're looking for. So my advice is, please don't just focus on building a good CV. Make sure that you have the skills that are required. And I will tell you, when I left medical school, I was good in clinical practice, but I understood that for me to make it in public health, because I'm not in public health, I'm in public health by choice, because that is what I actually wanted to do. That is what I love. And there's a lot in it that I enjoy doing. But by the time you're getting there, make sure that you take enough time to work on yourself. I think for those of you who want to continue to do clinicals, there are some of you maybe within the past 6-7 months, you've been focused only on research, and it's time for you to go back to a clinic, even to beg for 2-3 weeks to say, I want to understand certain things that I may have forgotten, or I want to refresh my skills. Please take that opportunity to learn whenever possible. There are courses out there that can help you gain new soft skills. But as much as possible, make sure that when you have the opportunity to learn, if you can even, I think if you listen to what Dr. Ebiambu was talking about, she said she was ready to go to clinics and offer her services for free. At times when we say that, people say, why am I going to be eating? Yes, it's true. It's not what you think. But please, if you have the opportunity of gaining a skill, it may not pay you at that moment, but then know where you're headed. Ask yourself, where do I want to go to? What I often do is, in the next, in these careers, you have the entry level, you have the mid-senior level, and you have the senior level. What I did when I started out in public health was I went into profiles of people who were in their mid-senior and their senior levels, and I tried to understand what they had done in the fields in which they belonged. And I understood that, okay, if I'm to be like this person, and I go deep, I actually read through in their skills. This person has skill in leadership, in project management, in research, and so on. I go into that and I search through. And I ask myself, if this person at this level has these skills, it means that I'll probably need these skills by the time I get there. And so I take every opportunity that comes my way to gain that skill, be it in project management, be it in research, and so on. When I finally found myself within the field of project management, and I settled in project management in global health, that was what I then realized I was good at doing. So I want to advise you all, try to understand where you're headed. Create a path for yourself. It will never be the same for any two people. That is what I want you to understand. It will never be the same for you as it was for me. But then try to understand that these are the skills I need, and do your best to gain those skills and walk the path to get there. So thank you so much. I think I'll be answering questions later. And if there's anything thing you want to know, I'm here. Thank you, Dr. Nge.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. That was quite very insightful. I think at the end, the key nugget I got from your point is carve out your niche, focus on it. No two parts are the same. This is a paraphrase of the famous words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who says, don't go where the path goes, create your own path and leave a trail for others to follow. Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. And we are going to be having our next speaker in the person of Dr. Marius Tchinde. Dr. Marius is a very hardworking medical doctor who happened to have a degree before joining medical school. Now, the difference with him was that they had their degree while they were in medical school. And the challenge was doing his degree program, their school got closed down. But Dr. Marius didn't back out being a doctor. Dr. Marius got the competitive entrance exams to come into 4th year and continue in the University of Buea. Presently, he graduated. He's now a resident surgeon at the Pan-African College of Christian Surgeons here in Cameroon. And he's going to be sharing with us his experience working in the private sector ever since he left school, and the learning opportunities that you have as a fresh medical graduate working in the private sector and also furthering your education in that private sector and beyond. Dr. Marius, I don't know if you can get me.
I can. Thank you.
Great. Welcome very much. I know it's been a busy week for you. Thank you for coming despite the prompt notice. And I hope that some hearts are not beating in the theater because you're not there. But we need your brain here for a couple of minutes. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you for giving me the floor. It's another once important opportunity to share the lead I have. The Cynthia Research Academy is a right platform where minds merge together to bring out the light that we need to grow. So as he rightly mentioned, I'm Dr. Marius Tchinde, going to my third year residency in general surgery with a Pan-African Academic of Christian Surgery. Let me share my, I hope I checked it. Okay. I want to share my screen. Are you getting the screen share? Is the screen share ready for everyone?
It's loading. It's loading. It's still dark on my end.
If it's ready, let me know so that I can start talking. But while the imaging is getting loaded, I will start by talking about my personal experience. Leaving medical school.
We have you. We have the slides. Yeah.
Yeah, leaving medical school was really interesting because first you have that and happiness of leaving the benches and happiness of being free from the medical training. And what next? What next was really terrifying because after medical studies, I found myself in the no man's land because at that moment you had everything on your back. First, you are responsible of yourself, you are responsible of your sibling and many other things. So what was I supposed to do? So I did what Dr. Sam Dennis said. I tried to get experience and I did voluntary work at the Dedo District Hospital with one of my mentors for a period of time. And when the opportunity came with the Cameroon Baptist Convention, I seized the opportunity to be one of their physicians. And from there, I was posted in Bansor. And that was during the crisis. In fact, the crisis is still on, where I practiced for over 2 years before joining the Pan-African Academic of Christian Surgeons to be a resident in general surgery. And since then, I've been there, and this is my second year, moving to my third year residency. So today, I'm glad and pleased to talk about medical graduate opportunities in the private and confessional sectors in Cameroon. So after you leave your medical schools and then you are searching for what you want to do, what are the options that present to you in the private and the confessional institution? As of now in Cameroon, we basically have it in the clinical specialization programs, and you also have the public and the public health and hospital administration specialization programs. As concerning the medical specialization program, the only institution or the only setting that I know, it is in Bingo, where there is an established institution which is gaining ground and is gradually growing to a bigger institution, which is the Baptist Institute of Health Sciences. But I'm going to segment what is going on in that institution so that you make things very clear because we have two programs running in the same institution, one being Pan-African, that is an international organization, and another one being an indoor training program, like a national training program, which is the one concerning the internal medicine specialization program. So for the surgery program in the Bingo Baptist Hospital, where I am trained, it is under the Pan-African Academic of Christian Surgeon, which in the next slide, we are going to talk about it. We're going to introduce what is PACS, what is the mission of PACS, what are the criteria to become a resident in the Pan-African Academic College of Surgeon. And then we are going to talk about the internal medicine program in Bingo too, under the Baptist Institute of Health Sciences. The Pan-African Academy of Christian Surgeon, it is an organization which was created in 1996. And since then, PACS has been training and discipling African physicians to become Christian surgeons to minister and to treat the poor in Africa and for Africa. So they have been training African surgeons for the past, I think should be around 25 years now. And for this period of time, PACS have trained over like 150 surgeons for Africa. Now it is a big organization, and it's an organization that is running now on its own. Before it was under another organization, but since 2020, PACS is a purely independent organization. And we have 14 different training centers, like training grounds in Africa, in about, I think it's 10 different African countries, among which Cameroon. And it's good to say that Cameroon is the second site of training since the organization was started. So after Bongolo in Gabon, Cameroon was the second center. And PACS Mbingo is actually the third program. Unfortunately, Cameroon had 3 programs, and the 2 other ones unfortunately got closed, and now we are only running one. In Bingo, we are fortunate to have the general surgery program, where surgeons, like residents, have been admitted to be trained as general surgeon for a period of 5 years. And this general surgery program is also found in the different other African countries, which it will be lengthy for me to mention all of them. You have Egypt, you have Kenya, you have Gabon, you have Niger, you have Togo that is starting this year, you have Burundi also starting this year, you have Malawi, you have Tanzania, you have I think you have Madagascar. Maybe I've forgotten some of the other programs, but at least you have like 10 different African countries where general surgeons have been trained. Added to that, we have other residency programs. To that, we have the orthopedics surgery training program. Actually, now you only have 3 centers where orthopedic surgeons have been trained. You have in Ethiopia, where you have the CURE program. It's another organization working with PACS. You have Kenya in Kijabe and also in Tenwek, where you can also be trained as an orthopedic surgeon. The pediatric surgery program is mainly found in Kenya, in Kijabe, with the Botanic Kids program, where you also have a 3-year training program for those who have already been trained as general surgeon, or a 5-year training program for those who enter the residency directly to become pediatric surgeon. PACS is starting the obstetrics and gynecology training program in Tenwek, that is still in Kenya. Neurosurgery is in Tenwek, Kenya, and then you also have anesthesiology in Kijabe. All these programs are open to all African physicians desiring to be trained in Africa for Africa. And the criteria for most of the residents in PACS is first to be an African physician in an African country. That is, you should be on seats like in Africa, and you should have graduated from a recognized African medical school, which is recognized by the organization. fortunately, most of our training programs are recognized, like the Faculty of Health Sciences, the one from Bamenda, the one from Yaoundé, like all the faculties are recognized as of now. You also have to be a sincere follower of Christ because it's a Christian training program. This should be manifested in a lot of things. First, by the way you voice out your Christian faith and also the way you live your Christian faith and your lifestyle is important because it is something that they take at heart, and it's a big element in the evaluation of those who want to be recruited as residents in these training programs. Another criteria of admission into the Pan-African Academy of Christian Surgeons is that you should be at least, like if you are very old, you should be around 35, or exceptionally, you may be recruited after 35, but you need to know that your chances should be very slim. And English language is advocated for most of those applying for PACS training because the training program is being dispensed by missionaries, mainly from the US, and most of them communicate in English, as we all know. So they need people that will understand them and be able to follow them throughout the training program. You also need to have strong recommendation. And I think the two previous presenters talked about recommendation. And the recommendation will first go, as we mentioned, for your Christian background, from your pastor or any person that, yes, a pastor, a priest, that they will be able to give a strong Christian recommendation for you to be admitted into the program. You also need to have a good recommendation from your supervisor, and then a recommendation from a colleague with whom you are working with, which means that you need to keep your relation, as the first presenter mentioned, and you need to always try to have good profile, like good standing with your employer or people that you know. And the last thing is that you should be ready to accept to work in Africa, and preferably in, how would I say, in areas of need. The essence of the organization is for African surgeons to serve poor people, like where there is no surgeon. And this is because studies have shown that in most African countries, you have one surgeon for 1.5 million inhabitants. So there is a need to train surgeons, and there is a need to train surgeons that are going to remain in Africa for the African people. So you should be ready to work in maybe far away settings, not in towns, and be ready to not have like that kind of decent, like expensive life, which most of us wish to have. But it's a pathway. It is a pathway for you to build up your career. Nobody knows. Maybe after you serve back 5 years, because the program is to run for 5 years, and then you're supposed to pay back with the Pan-African academic for 5 years. So if you are trained for 5 years, you have to pay back 5 years. 5 years means working in an African setting for the 5 years of training. And that depends also on your sponsor, because I want to talk about the sponsorship because it's very important. Actually, now what happens in Bingo is that most of those who apply to be trained at the Bingo site are sponsored by the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services. So when you are recruited to be trained in Bingo, you need to know that for your 5 years of training, the CBC is the organization that is going to sponsor your training. So after training, you have to pay back with the Cameroon Baptist Convention. After that payback, you are free. You can do what you want, but you can still decide to remain in the organization after you have created your network with the organization. You have your contact, your phone book of people that you have collaborated during your training program, which is very important. So after the general surgery program or any other residency program which we mentioned, you also have the fellowship programs. In Bingo, we have, as of now, we have one fellowship program, the head and neck surgery, which is a 1-year fellowship program. That is after you have been trained as a general surgeon. You also have the cardiothoracic surgery program. This one, you can't get into those programs without being trained as a general surgeon. So you have to have gotten a background in surgery. And the cardiothoracic surgery program is in Kenya, which is a 3-year training program after 5 years of general surgery. Then you have the surgical endoscopy training program, which is a 1-year training program still in Kenya. And when you have been trained already by PACS in the previous program that I mentioned, general surgery or any other kind of surgery, it's easy for you to be admitted in these fellowship programs.
I see my head is just aching behind. What I'm press on that.
So what are the admission criteria? We talked about it. So what is the advantage of being trained by the Pan-African Academic, by PACS, by a Pan-African Academy of Christian Surgery? So the first advantage is that you are home. You are being trained at home. You are being trained for your people, and you are being trained to serve the Lord, to minister to those who are in need, like to gain soul for Christ, which is a big advantage, because for those who believe, we have a goal in our Christian life, which is that of the Great Commission, to gain as much souls as you can for the Lord. And the second advantage, another advantage for the PACS is that when you are trained by PACS, during your training program, for example, somebody trained in Bingo, you are expected to have done like over 2,000 cases by the time you are graduating from your training program, which is not, many people may think that it is extraordinary. It is possible. I am there and I know what I'm talking about. You have a broad experience about cases, and you even go out of the scope of general surgery. For example, you can do things that are out of the general surgery scope because you will probably need that skill when you be working, because people will come to you needing some specialized care that only you can be, only you will be the person to supply that care. Like if you find yourself in a remote area, somebody come with a hematoma, for example, we are medical doctors and you need to train that. PACS give you the opportunity to train you to have some neurosurgery skills, have skills in cardiothoracic surgery, have skills in orthopedic surgery, which are good skills for somebody who wants to be a complete surgeon. That's one advantage. Another advantage is that PACS give you the opportunity to network with many other residents elsewhere, because it is a Pan-African thing, and then you get to link up with other people from other countries. You have colleagues from Egypt, you have colleagues from Ethiopia. My phone book is full of different people from different parts of Africa. I have different ways of seeing things, like when I move with them, when I discuss with them, and I see different ways of treating patients, which is a big advantage. It gives you a bigger scope of how medicine is being done elsewhere in Africa and how you can work with other people elsewhere. The networking is also very important. And another advantage is that of being trained by expatriate, people that have worked elsewhere and who come back with the knowledge and share with you, and you see how things are being done, for example, in the US, because most of our lecturers are people that have practiced in the US or people still practicing in the US and voluntarily do mission work for Africa to train African surgeons. So you have that phone book too with those faculties, those consultants. It's also a very big advantage for you to be trained with PACS. And the last thing is that being trained with PACS gives you the opportunity to be autonomous after your payback. After you have been trained, that knowledge that you have gotten, you can use it again as an individual base. Like you can set up your own clinic or your own hospital where you'll be able to take care of the people left in Africa. And I've heard about people after PACS training who got opportunities to go abroad because it is a certified training program. And during your training program, you also go through the COSEXA certification training program too. COSEXA is the College of Surgeons for East, Central, and South Africa. So when you are also trained as a surgeon for PACS, you are also getting trained as a surgeon to become a fellow of the COSEXA area, COSEXA zone. So after training, you can be able to work anywhere in that area. Like you can work in Kenya, you can work in Uganda, you can even work in Botswana, Malawi, any country you can imagine in the central part of Africa, the eastern part of Africa, and the southern part of Africa, except South Africa as of now. So those are the advantages that you can have with PACS, being trained with PACS. So that done with PACS, what about the internal medicine training program? The internal medicine training program, as I mentioned initially, is you have the Baptist Institute of Health Sciences, under which you have the Christian Internal Medicine Specialization Program. It is a 4-year training program, and it is sponsored at 100% by the CDC, the Cameroon Baptist Convention. So any person that is trained by the Baptist Institute in the internal medicine training program is supposed to work with the CBC program, like CBC organization, for the next 4 years. That is the corresponding years of training. The credential of the training program, as of now, there's an agreement with the Ministry of Higher Education as concerning the recognition of the training. And we are expecting in the near future, like with, I think the batch that is ongoing, to be recognized, like having a certificate that is recognized by the Ministry of Higher Education, so that they can be able to, even after they have paid back, to be able to work elsewhere other than the CBC health services. So it is on the way. And there are other people that have the opportunity, after being trained in the internal medicine training program, to go out for other training program. Like there's one doctor now in Kenya doing cardiologist after being trained as an internal medicine specialist. So it's still possible for you to pursue your other dreams, like getting a subspecialization or any other training after you are in the general internal medicine training program. So what are the other things that are being offered at the Baptist Institute of Health Sciences? You also have the public health training program, which is a 3-year training program. It's not a full-time, it is an online and on-site, but mainly online. And it's basically for those who have other things to do, who want to have an MPH. So you can get enrolled in that MPH program. And over a period of 3 years, you get your NPH. And they also offer the hospital administration like certification. So you can also go there for that. And they have partnership with other universities. I can't recall which one, but there is one partnership that facilitates the certification. This one is recognized and is well accepted internationally. So you can go in for this one knowing that after that training, you have the market open for you. So what are the advantages? First, what are the criteria, admission criteria for those who want to get enrolled in the internal medicine training program? The first thing is that the CBC health services will first give advantages to those who are already working with them, but they will also recruit residents from other sites, like even if you are not from the CBC, so you can still get enrolled. You just need to be a Cameroonian. You just need to know that you are going to be sponsored by the CBC health services, and then after 4 years, you have to pay back with them. You have to be a Christian. You have to have recommendation from your pastor, your supervisor, and any colleague. It's almost the same thing. But there's something I forgot about PACS. This is an entrance exam. Sorry, I didn't talk about that. This is an entrance exam. You have to take an entrance exam which concern basic sciences, anatomy, pathology, and physiology. There are 300 questions for 9 hours, and then you have an interview after that. So you need to know that you have to prepare for that too. So it's a highly competitive entrance exam, and it's taken all over Africa at the same time. So you have people who are competing all over Africa. So you need to know that you have to prepare for that. For the internal medicine program, I think it's just an interview, and then you have to do studies of your file. When you drop your file, you'll study that. So what are the advantages of the internal medicine program? The advantage is that, first, as I said, the same thing like that of PACS. You are trained in Africa, you are at home, and then you serve your people directly. The other advantage is that sooner or later, very soon, you will be recognized, and then you start practicing, and then you can move and grow. The exposure during the training program is also enormous. It's almost like that of PACS. You gain responsibility very fast, and the clinical knowledge and clinical skills, I would say, they're really good for what I know, for what I see with my colleague doing internal medicine. They have good clinical judgment. So you also increase your exposure, which is also one thing that is very good. And after your training and after your payback, you can be able to settle on your own ground and then run your own business, run your own clinic. The last thing I want to talk about is the Catholic University of Central Africa. The only thing they offer there in Yaoundé is public health. For those who are interested and want to get trained, is a 2-year training program during which you have the first year is basically theory, the second year you have parts which is theory, and the second half is the dissertation period. So if you don't want to be trained, for example, in the CBC or the Baptist Institute of Health Sciences, in the domain of public health, you also have the Catholic University for public health. I'm talking about the confessional because that is where I'm versed. There are also private institutions that offer public health and hospital management, but this is what I had to prepare. I don't know if there's any question. I'm open to any question. I know at the end of the day, you still have some worries, and I'm open to answer to all those worries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marius. That was quite insightful. Wow, so some people might say there are no study opportunities, there are no work opportunities. You've seen it all. Outside the public sector, there are opportunities. So now our next speaker is going to be telling us about the public sector work and learning opportunities for us medical graduates. Now, if you have any questions, drop them in the chats, currently, we are about 49 on the call, which is increasing. We started at 30, so which is increasing. We'll keep going. We are halfway done. So thank you very much, Dr. Marius, for that presentation. Myself, I learned, and I remember always telling you that I will be coming very soon as your junior, and I'm ready to take calls with you to learn, so and become a Christian surgeon. Great. So key nuggets for that is that for those of you who are Christians, this is an opportunity for you to leverage getting employed with the confessional sector, and then leveraging on that opportunity to get your study fast track. So basically, that's it. Our next speaker is going to be Dr. Boyepanda Achille. Dr. Boyepanda Achille is a resident surgeon in the University of Yaoundé 1, and he too is a medical doctor. He completed medical school, and happens to be.
Sorry.
All right. So he completed medical school, and he's one of the few doctors amongst us who also has another degree attached to his MD. So he, as well, similar to Dr. Marius, they joined us while we were in 4th year, and these persons actually had to write the competitive exams to enter 4th year. And he's going to be sharing with us opportunities in the public sector, learning and work opportunities. Dr. Achille, I don't know if you're there. If you can get me, please unmute. Great. Seems we're missing Dr. Achille. I'm just going to ride on. Once he joins us in, we're going to share. Now, we are halfway done. We have the Cameroon public sector experience that we need to talk on, and then opportunities in the US. So I'm going to want to recognize some other doctors. who joined us on a very prompt note to just give support to you people. This is notably Dr. Chengan Isaac, who is of the 8th batch as well, from the Faculty of Health Sciences, Dr. Leticia Chunda Sani, Dr. Boger Ridley, who is also of the 6th batch from the University of Boya, Dr. Makebe Haman, who is also a doctor from the 6th batch of the University of Boya. For those of you who have worked in the Regional Hospital Bamenda, he worked there for 3 years plus. Dr. Obi Besem, who is of the 9th batch, I guess. Yes, they graduated last year from the University of Boya. So doctors, your presence in this call is very much appreciated. We thank you for taking our time. We also have Dr. Sweni, who graduated from the University of Bamenda. Yes, I think it's the 4th batch, or it's 3rd batch, if I'm mistaken. And then we have Dr. Kengla Eni from the 2nd batch of the University of Bamenda, Dr. Meli Juvenal, who is also from the University of Boya, I think 7th batch, if I'm not mistaken. So doctors, we have this time for you to share with us anything that maybe you think is a learning point for our graduates, our juniors who just completed. So thank you very much. And if there's anyone who wants to share anything, please, you could share that in the chat. You can share that with me privately and I'll share it with them in the group. But I cannot see you present and I don't give you the opportunity to share. And please, please keep the questions coming. If you have anything now that you want to voice out, please, you can just unmute and also ask your question directly. All right, so I'm going to then continue what I had to share with you people, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to be sure that everyone can see my screen. Great. So we've completed medical school. You have a couple of months before your graduation. And I want to let you know that the pace after this is individual. Just as you were born, it's individual. That is the first thing I want all of you to know. It is a very challenging landscape becoming a physician in our current time. It's a very challenging landscape. It's not more rosy like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's not more rosy. It's very competitive. It's very demeaning. Doctors are losing respect. Doctors are losing the quality of pay. If you were looking for medicine to get financial freedom in Cameroon, the option is really depressing. Now, we are going to look at a summary of the opportunities that are presented already. So my part of this presentation is actually to let you know how you're going to position yourself, all of the opportunities that have been mentioned. Okay, yeah. So first things first, all of you have defended your thesis. There is something that they call library and faculty clearance. I was a class representative or class president at my time, so I have a mastery of the workings of the administrative sections in the universities. You have to get your corrected copies within 2 weeks of defense, so that your examiner, then your president of jury signs and approves, and you come and submit. These are things that you need to do before you get a job. Get done with them. I said within 2 weeks, because it's doable. I did that within the first week after my defense. But within 2 weeks, because at that time, the corrections are still fresh in your brain, okay? And your supervisors, your co-supervisors are still available to correct your thesis. When you go further, they will no longer have interest in those things, especially for those of you who are not going to be publishing your thesis. For those of you who went through the mentorship program at SRA, we told you that we were teaching you the research journey so you'll be able to publish. So We hope that most of you are already converting your final thesis to manuscripts now because we gave people a template already. So that's it. Between now and your graduation, worst case scenario, get your faculty and library clearances. Ensure that you have done everything that the university owes you your certificate. You don't owe the university anything to give you your certificate. Now, for all of the UK, the US, the government opportunities always ask you for a certificate. But you have a hack, attestation of completion of studies. In our time, we could get attestation of completion of studies without our certificates, without even having a complete transcript. I don't know how that is now. For you, yeah, go ahead, call your class representative, tell him, hey, call the dean, call the records office, let them give us what we need to get our attestations of completion of studies. That is what can be accepted even internationally, alongside the recommendations from the dean of your faculty to get enrolled for a learning program for a job. Okay, those are things you have to be doing now before you start getting busy with jobs, because believe you me, once you get busy with jobs, you are not going to have the time again to chase. I remember I left the Banso Baptist Hospital to come to Boya for my graduation. If at the time I had not completed my thesis and everything, it would have been challenging. So basically, that is what you have to do between now and probably the date of your graduation, between now and probably you getting your first job. All right. So this was just the first part to get you people prepared. Okay. Preparing for your graduation, some of you might want to get ROBs and all of those things, but preparing for your graduation is making sure that you do everything that your thesis is properly corrected. And then you know that on your day of your graduation, you can walk straight to the records office and say, I want to collect my certificate. So basically, that is what you have to do between now and your graduation. Now, what are those skills? We're going to talk shortly. I wish to welcome Dr. Kiangu Fomengia Joseph, resident physician in the United States. He's also a graduate of the fourth batch from the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya. He's an ARES scholar and an alumni as well in that scholarship scheme. ARES is scholarship, a Belgium-based scholarship, which is open for international graduates. And this year, he marched into residency in the US. He's coming to share with us opportunities that are available for you and I in the US, and how to position yourself for all of these opportunities. Dr. Fomengia, I don't know if you can get me. If you do, sir, senior mentor, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you very much, the Provost Cynthia. That was a really long presentation for me. Yeah, I'm actually glad, to be in this session and yeah, and to talk about the US. I mean, good evening, everyone. As you heard from Cynthia and Greg, that's my name. Currently, I'm sorry, I would have joined you guys at the beginning, but I'm currently at work. I just stepped out to, in fact, I actually said I had the family emergency, and that's why I was let go to, to give this short talk before we went back. Yeah, about the US, just like everywhere, we have a lot of opportunities, and it is left for us, as an individual, to know your personal objectives. I know with us back home, it's quite somehow difficult because when you ask someone, what are your goals? What do you aspire? What do you want to become? Most of us get confused because initially we never had a plan of how we want our lives to be because of the country and the situation where we find ourselves. I'm sorry, I hear someone complain about the echo. I'm stay in the hospital, and when there's an emergency, there's a response going on now. I have to announce it to everyone so that the team involved has to go to that same particular environment. So you guys will bear with me. There's no way to escape. As long as you're in the hospital, you're gonna get that response when there's any emergency. So sorry about the person complaining. But I hope you can. Sincere, I don't know. Can you get me? Are you getting me very well?
Yes, we can get you. Maybe you just maybe move a little bit close to your mic, and I think you'll be fine for us.
Okay. Let me just make sure. Is it better now?
Yes, I think it's better.
Okay. Yeah. Like I was saying, there are opportunities as well. Just like everywhere for medical personnel. It's just for you to know your objectives. We are all different. We're not gonna use the same route to do the same thing. Some people aspire into clinical medicine, others will go into public health, others will go into things which are totally different from medicine. So it just depends on your passion and on what you want to do, where you want to be, and where you're hoping to be maybe in the next year plans, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. You're all supposed to have that. See, look within yourself. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Where do you see yourself doing, something for 20 years over and over? I know most of you have just left medical school. You're still like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Where do I begin from? Where, you ask that all of us were at that point. When you, of course, when you're graduating, you see family will be there, you'll be happy, oh man, I've hit this, but that is just the beginning of another step. After graduation, what next on the line for you? So I would talk about just my struggles. So about how I was able, from my graduate in 2016, FHS batch 2016. Then I think I worked it was in Cameroon for Europe 3 years. Why during that time, of course, I made sure that I stayed in touch with research. I did a few publications. I wouldn't say much, but I did a few publications. Then I had an RS scholarship where I did a NPHM in Belgium for another year before COVID broke out. So after COVID, I then started preparing I said, now I need a new challenge. So I found myself started preparing for the US MLE. It took me approximately 1 year to write the boards, write about the board exams. And yeah, and then I applied after taking my step 1, my step 2, the OET. I got ECFMG certified. ECFMG just means that it's a foreign body that certifies international medical graduates. So when you're certified in that body, then that body accepts you as an American graduate. So you can now apply to schools that American graduates are applying as well. So when you apply, there's already an application cycle. This year it begins in September. So you guys apply in September, then programs which like your profile, because it's not in every program you're going to apply. You search them, there are, hundreds of residency programs and different programs. I am doing internal medicine. You have people who are doing family medicine, others are doing orthopedic, others are doing plastic. They are all specialties that you can think of. So you apply there, programs which like your profile are going to offer you an interview. They're going to invite you for an interview. So when you come in for an interview, you know that, for example, if this program is taking maybe 10 positions, taking 10 first-year residents in internal medicine, they are going to interview about 160 people for one position. So it means that when you're going for that interview, you need to be well prepared. You need to know yourself. You need to master your skills. They want you to say things. You need to know what to do, how to write your personal statements, how to sell yourself. Those are what you need to do in order to do that. Then after your interview, there's what they call ranks, the ranking process that takes place around March, where you rank the programs that you like most. The programs too that you interviewed at, they are gonna rank their own. They are gonna rank everybody who interviewed with them as well. So on that side, you rank the programs you are ranking you. So when they say the match, it means that if I rank the program high and that program also ranks me high, I'm going to match in that program because it shows that that program wants me to come there. And I also like that program. So that's how the match works. It's a simple algorithm that works. So after the match passed, after the match, then results come out. You're told that, okay, you matched in this program, then your program starts in July 1st. So I'm just about, this is my 5th week of starting. I'm calling my video of starting now. So that is a path for everyone who wants to take the USMLE. Right now, I have many people, sending me emails, that they're taking their step 1, their step 2. What else do I think they can do? Those are the opportunities that you have if you want to come in. And for those in Boya, I will tell you that the alumni is strong. Alumni in the US is growing. I think this year, more than 10 of us from Boya, I think about 10 from Boya entered first year residence in the US. I mean, Boya is just a small place, but just the fact that you have 10 of us this year going in to the first year, it says a lot. It says a lot about how we are growing, the networks we are creating, because believe me, when we talk of network, you will not know what it means until you come, on this part of the world. When you're told that is how information is power, it means that once you network with people, that is where you see the opportunities start coming. So I will advise you guys, network. If you want to do anything, network. You need to know someone. It's not in the Cameroonian way, like if you want to go somewhere, you need to know someone to give money. No, this one is just by recommendation. If someone here recommends you to a friend, that's how things work. It's just but no more. But if I know someone and that person recommends someone to me, it means that person must be good to recommend that individual to me. So that is really how it works. And I also have friends, medical doctors as well. They are into public health and research. Those opportunities are there. I have someone working with the CDC right now, leading a whole research team, my classmate. So that's the path she decided to take. She's leading a whole research team to working with the CDC Atlanta. So you have other people doing exactly things not related to medicine. I have another one, MD, doing photography. I'm also very good in it. It charges you like, he's a professional photographer, although he still works as a clinician, but he's a professional photographer as well. So it's just about your passion, just about where you want to be, just about the story you want to write, at the end of your days, when you're in your 80s or your 90s, and you will be proud to say, okay, this is what I did, and I'm proud of what I did, and of the things I was able to do, of the people I was able to help, of the friends, of the family you were able to meet, of the impact that you were able to create during our short stay here in the world. I know I focused mainly on my path because I'm into clinical medicine, but there are other paths as well. But it just depends. What do you want? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? And at that time, where do you think you're gonna be? What will you be doing? What will you be doing at that time? Are you going to like it? Are you going to hate it? Will you become bored? Are you gonna become tired of it? So those are all questions that you should be able to answer when you're when you're planning your careers, and when you're trying to do, just begin to realize yourself. I know most of us back home, we some sort of realize what we want. Some of us in our 20s, that's when I know that, oh, this is what I was created for. At the beginning, we had those skills, but what happens? Our system did not train us to make the best out of those skills that we had. So some of us grew up losing those skills. Others grew up being timid about the skills they had. Others only realize their purpose, realize themselves. So had to build those skills in their 20s, which, by the way, is not late. It's better late than never. But as medical personnel, I believe that most of us here, I feel most of us here want to be careers, and most of us here want to grow. You look at someone, you want to become like that person. And I'm thankful for SRA for organizing this event. When I was contacted by the provost to talk, I just told him my schedule, the time does not meet my schedule, but whatever the case, once it's something that concerns you, I can't say no. I will try to squeeze that time, to make sure I actually come online, actually come on board, and say 1 or 2 words to encourage you guys, to tell you how it is done here. Guys, it is very doable. If I can do it, you can do it. Like I mean, I didn't come from the richest homes back in Cameroon, but I was, you know, able, just a determination that can take you where you want to be. Just a determination, you just have to be determined the way you've always been. Yes, the USMLA is the most stressful exam, especially step one, most stressful exam I've ever written. It is very depressing, but it is doable. When you can successfully take those exams and complete them, that is, you know yourself. And when you get in, you realize that, oh my, the struggles were worth it. The struggles were worth it. And right now, in residency, it's not easy. It is also a struggle for me. You know, the hours, of course, that's how the training is. That's how the training is. The hours are crazy. The hours I've been up since 5 a.m. and right now I think it's about 4 p.m. right now. I'm still here, and I know that I still have about 3 more hours to finish my notes, complete my work, to make sure that my questions are okay, you know, before I actually go. So the provost is telling me maybe I've overspoken. I plan to take 10 minutes to speak, but since I've gone beyond the time limit, well, whatever the case, I think I may entertain 1 or 2 questions. The provost, I hope you're reading the questions from the comments. If you have any questions, please, I can give 5 more minutes. The senior residents are already begging me to come by. So if you have any questions, please just give, I can take 1 to maximum 3 questions, then I rapidly go back to work.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Joe. I think we have a question here. This is from Gina. So please, we've heard some things about USMLE and would love to verify. 1, must one write step 1 USMLE before taking step 2? Or is it possible to write just step 2?
Okay, I will just rapidly respond to that one. You know, before you take step, I mean, you can start with any step. You can decide to start with step 2, or you can start to start with step 1. At the end of the day, you must have your step 1 and your step 2 before you can apply for residency.
All right, great. The next question is the USMLE exam a certification exam, or it's an entrance into residency?
No, it's neither of those. The USMLE is just an assessment exam. Okay, you just like in Cameroon we have ECN, that way you can call a board exam. That's just something you write when you're getting out of medical school. So they want to set a standard for everyone, so that before this person can go into residency, we know that this person has a particular standard. That is why those exams exist. So you need to take your step 1 and your step 2, then you can apply for residency. After taking step 1 and step 2, it means you have a particular level that now we are able to say that this person can comfortably go into residency and train to become a specialist in this field, or specialist in that field.
All right. How much is it for all the steps? And please, what are the procedures and requirements to apply for the USMLE? How much is it?
Well, I would say that it's quite expensive. I'm not gonna lie. I would just say what I spent. I don't know the value, the figures in CFA, but step 1 is around, for international medical graduates like you guys or like me. Step 1, just the cost for step 1 is around I think it's around $900 or $950 to about $1,000. That's just for the exam, but you know, you have to pay some other accessory fees. So I can say step 1 can take about $1,200 US. Step 2, approximately the same amount. You need to also include money to that you purchase a material. Your first aid costs you around $60, $70. Then those are just the steps. When you're applying for residency, that is another thing. For residency programs, you apply to programs, and each application fee that you send out is about $30. So if I apply to 100 programs, for example, that means that if we've got to pay about, we are applying to 30 programs, the first 9, there's an algorithm, the first 10 programs that you apply is $99. Then from then it's about $25 per program. So you just see how it goes. It's costly, yes. It can take you about 5 million US dollars, but it's not something you can do it at the go. It's not something that just take 5 million and you come and put something that you do progressively. So if you can do that progressively, then you can be sure to, at the end of the day, have those have that into, do the board exam. Yes, and get the next one, please.
Where can one take those exams in Cameroon? And,
no. Okay, continue your question, please. Sorry
and
for stopping.
and the last question is, after passing step 1 and 2, are you eligible to practice as a doctor in the US, or you need to continue with studies?
The first thing, the exam is not taken in Cameroon. Step 1, but step 1 can be taken in Ghana, it can be taken in, I think, Kenya, it can be taken in, I think, South Africa. Step 2 can be taken in those countries. But step 3, they say another one, step 3, which you can start to take before your residency. You can take it while in your residency. Me, for example, I'm not taking step 3. I still plan to take step 3. So step 3 can only be taken in the US. And for those who have plans of coming to the US, if you have taken your step 1 and your step 2, and you go to the embassy that you want to come and take step 3 here, believe me, immediately you say, when you're coming to take step 3, it will be given to you. So if there's another way where you want to get visas to come to the US, take your step 1, take your step 2, you register for your step 3 in the US, go with the embassy, they're gonna give you a visa right away. They need doctors everywhere.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph from India. It's been a pleasure having you. If there are other questions, we should. And after the session, we'll have a post on LinkedIn and Facebook. And if there are any, you can always ask those questions in that post. And all of us who are facilitators, we can answer there live. And for those who are in our orientation, in our mentorship WhatsApp forum, you know that the forum is open for your questions anytime. See. All right. Thank you.
I see a hand on.
Yeah. Dr. Meli, Shivena, your hand is raised.
Yes, Dr. Cynthia.
You can go on the.
I want to ask. Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask this question. Thank you for you, Dr. Cynthia, to have. It's an important activity since we have young colleagues and even us still struggling to have a way. I will not keep the floor for long, but what I wanted is somebody who is actually in the US and he's fighting for asylum. Can he prepare and write step 1, step 2 when he's in the US? Is what I wanted to ask.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing that stops you from writing those exams. There's nothing that stops you. Nobody's gonna come ask for your status when you're writing it. As long as you have your work permit, as long as you're permitted to work in the States, you can take the exam. You can take the exams. But when you're applying to residency, there are some programs which will tell you we take just citizens or those permanent residents or those with green cards. Other programs, some states like New York, New Jersey, they are more liberal. So those ones also tell you, okay, we sponsor visas. Okay, we accept anyone who has been legally authorized to work in the States. So in those programs, that is where you want to go for when you're applying for your residency. So absolutely, you can take the steps here. You can apply for residency here without being a citizen or without being a permanent resident, or you just having just your work permit. You can do that.
Thank you, Senior Doctor. Thank you so much for the explanation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. If anyone has any other questions, please, you can forward them through SRA of course, I'm a mentor with SRA, so you can call them through SRA. They always know how to get to me, and and from there we can, I'm always free. I'm always free in quotes, but I'm not free. But I always find time to pay up respond to your call or respond to your message when I've got the time. Thank you guys very much. It was a pleasure to step out, even though I lied about the family emergency, but it was a pleasure to talk to you guys. Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice time.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Fomengia, for stealing our time to reach out to us. This is priceless. The insights you share were actually very life transforming, and I hope that our fresh medical graduates are having a lot to ponder over as we continue. I am happy we're rounding up. So what is left is my own bits to just tell you people how the skills you need to get and how to position yourself. Of note, we'll share with you opportunities in and around in the country and also outside. Earlier, I recognized the presence of other colleagues who joined on very short notice. And I also want to recognize the presence of Dr. Agbo Ashu. He's also a senior colleague from the Faculty of Health, the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. Excuse. He's the co-founder and medical director at HealthLane, which is Cameroon's leading preventive health hospital, let me put it in quotes, and where I also happen to be working as preventive health physician. Doc, you're welcome. I don't know if you have any words to share with our fresh medical graduates, just to inspire them and the opportunities that lie, especially for you who has had a more entrepreneurial journey since you left medical school. Right. I think Dr. Ash is having a challenge with network, but I'm going to continue with my own beat and where I ended. So we round up this. I'm very happy that we're having a very interesting session. Of note, we've had very few questions. Just in case you haven't dropped your question yet, please do. So before when I stopped, I told you people that you have to sort out everything with the university. The next thing is like I said, for the very first time, I would say in history, the last 3 years have been very uncertain for medical doctors in Cameroon. The days are very challenging. You'll be employed by nurses that you insulted when you're a medical student. It's very true. And they're going to pay you very funny salaries. Some of you might have gotten that feedback already. The next is employers versus reliability. I will tell you today as you're preparing your CVs and doing everything, note that you have to choose a reliable employer. At least you need some food on your table, you need something to sustain over a period of time. You've seen the exams, all of them are costly. You need to raise funds for that. So you need to get an employer who, if you have a budget, you can always plan and say, okay, after 6 months, I should be able to raise this budget to do either the Cameroonian exams, the US exams, or the UK and RS exams, basically. Now, we missed out on the state or government opportunity. It ended in 2019, where the government was doing direct recruitment for medical doctors. Now, all doctors have to write an employment exam. I don't know how to call the exam because it's yet to be launched. Since 2019, medical doctors have not been recruited by the state. What does that mean? So you are this coming in 2022, you'll be writing the first integration exam or whatever employment exam they'll call it in 2022 or 2023 with all of these other graduates. And you understand how competitive it will be. And the notice we had was that it was 50 spaces they'll be offering. Again, the future is very uncertain. How do you make yourself competitive? How do you survive? We've shared with people opportunities in the private sector, the missionaries and other sole proprietors. I only tell you that work with sole proprietors based on 2 things. their employability and their reliability. I will not advise any of you to go and stay somewhere where you'll be for 4 months without salary. It's not important. It's true that you're serving persons first, but again, to move to the next stage, you need the minimum to prepare you. Again, all the opportunities to build your CVs, you need to take courses. Most courses, you have to pay for them if you need to get a certificate. I know you obviously have the habit that, no, I don't have to pay for this, I can get it for free. Believe you me, you can ask Dr. Sam, Dr. Ebiambu, and Dr. Joseph. We personally have paid for courses over, I cannot say over 2 million francs ever. Learning, distance learning, you can imagine, just to get certifications to do the things I do. So you have to be prepared. And to do that, you need a job. So that's it. Again, we've shared with people NGO opportunities, which I believe that these are all things you can leverage with yourself. We're going to be sharing links to all of you people, how you can get more information on all of these things Dr. Sam and all the speakers have discussed. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is about building your CV. I'll just give a summary. Your CV should have 4 major these sections. A summary of who you are, what you aspire to be, what you're doing, depending on wherever you're doing, your academic profile, your skill set, your contributions to science, because you're a scientist, especially if you're going for anything that has to do with science, all right? And then your contributions in the community, so your volunteering work, it's very important. For those of you who want to do NGO work, know that your community work plays more role. Again, these sections can be expanded, elaborated, based on the direction, the focus you're taking in any particular opening. So I'll tell you this. We will be able to avail ourselves to correct your CVs and even help you get to trusted sources who can improve your CVs. We can even share with you ours so that you look at the template and follow so that you build very competitive CVs. Like Dr. Sam said, if your CVs cannot be understood in 30 seconds, then it's discarded. So you imagine, that's it. Leisures, hobbies, aspirations, those are things that you add just to spice your CV. But again, we have to be aware of all of these things. Now, skill-based positioning. All the speakers told you that you need to identify where you want to go, okay? And then identify the things you need to learn. And then you need to match those things with the current trends. Doctors already, by being a doctor, you have some soft skills that many people don't measure out in their CV, like decision-making, conflict management, prioritization, and there's, if you're a doctor who has worked in an emergency room, you know how to prioritize, you know how to make decisions. Okay, those are soft skills that you have, and you have to measure them out, mark them out in your clinical experience. When you're given that you work in this session, this is what you have as this is, and this way you demonstrate so and so skills. We'll be able to, in a limited time, correct the few committed people, their CVs, once they send them to us in time. Personally, I can do that. So if you want us to do that, you definitely reach out, and we're going to help you with that. Now, you need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. For instance, in the research training we had, some persons were full, their buckets were full, they thought they knew research. A few unlearned, and they learned very well right up to the end. They defended their thesis, and most of you had very good experiences with us. Some persons did not unlearn, they had kept the knowledge, and they minimized everything that was being shared by the group. And they only realized at the tail end, and they came back, and we kept on telling them, okay, go back to this point and we'll see those values. Okay, so again, it's same thing in your postgraduate life. You're going to enter the life of school, the school of life, sorry, and you have to be able to learn. Now, Dr. Sam Dennis said, the first investment you should do is investing in your CV. You have to build a CV and a personality. That's why I say you have to build a portfolio. I call it your strong personal brand. And it's based on that I'm going to end this presentation. Your strong personal brand. We've already looked at these opportunities. Great. So your strong personal brand is what I want you to know. It is your expression of yourself to the world. Strong is an acronym, okay? The first thing is your story, who you are, what you are, and why do you do it. It's always, they will ask you, why do you become a medical doctor? So basically, I am Dr. Cynthia Ngek. I'm a medical doctor with passion in preventive cardiovascular medicine. Why? I lost my grandmom, my granddad. I have lost several patients from heart disease, and this has stirred my passion. I want to keep doing this. I want to prevent such deaths from happening. That is my story. That is me telling you. And now the next is your tone. The tone starts with, first of all, your characteristics, your attitude, and the qualities you portray. So to do this, you definitely need to be empathic. From the way I express myself, you know that yes, I actually feel the pain of losing persons. I actually have the characteristics of wanting to help persons. So that's it. The next is relevant. How relevant is what you want to become to the society? And are you able to effectively communicate it? Great, I want to do preventive cardiovascular medicine. Well, what does that mean to that mama in the village? Okay, what does that mean to that HR person who does not understand medicine? Okay, but I can I can sit in a hall of 10 persons and say, 10 of us sitting here, out of 10 of us sitting here, 4 of us are going to die before the age 70 from a heart attack if we don't get screened and followed up. That's scary. So that is the way you communicate your relevance. You make the person understand the problem in which you're dealing. And at the end of today, I want all of you to think about it because it's going to orientate all of you to choose your niche in medicine and then excel in it. All right. So basically, the next is online content. Dr. Sam Dennis told you that he did most of his search online on LinkedIn. Dr. Ebiambu told you people the same thing. Today, we are carrying out this session online. You heard about SRA. This is your first time online. So I want all of you people to note that your online content is very important. Once you've identified your story, you've identified what you want to work on, leverage your growth in those things you're learning, in those things you're doing by presenting them online professionally. Don't aimlessly scroll, enjoy social media. At times you can use social media for leisure, but ensure that you're intentional in the way you position yourself. Get a LinkedIn account if you don't have. Go to YouTube, watch a video on how to create a competitive LinkedIn profile. See the things that you need. If you want to go into public health, go and read about persons like Ted Rose, the general manager of the WHO director, sorry. Read about Dr. Kengansom, who is the CDC director for Africa. So those are things that you need to be doing. See, go back, look at their profiles, go invade, be very intentional because everything now is online. The next, like Dr. Joseph said, networking. Networking does not mean that you need to bribe somebody. Networking simply means that when you get somewhere and you see someone who is where you want to be, walk up to that person and say, Professor, I read this article about you. Professor, I saw this publication about you. I watched this program where you shared this. Even if it's a lie, say it and get that person's number and tell that, Professor, I want you to mentor me. I want you to give me ideas on how to do this. What are the things I need to do? Be intrusive and intentional when it comes to you. My supervisor used to tell me that, Cynthia, ensure that I don't owe you anything. And if I owe you anything, don't let me sleep. And the same thing I told those of you who are in SRA, that if you let us sleep, we are not defending your thesis, you're the person. So let us know the problems you have. We can tell you the problems that we had, and it's based on that we are sharing all what we have. But we'll give you more if you keep telling us the challenges and you keep following with us. Now, the next is you have to be generous. The last thing is generosity. So the act of giving back to each other. Okay, today I'm coming back today. We've created SRA. We're helping you people have good research experiences that we didn't have. We're giving you opportunities now. We're doing this. How generous are you to the next person that's beside you? So that is it. All of this helps you to position yourself, to build not just your CV, but your personality, your strong personal brand. Who are you? How strong is your personal brand? So DRS doctors, we can go on and on. There are a lot of things we can tell you, but we can't say that in one night, in one day. We want to let you know that there are scholarship opportunities. There's the USMLE, there is the PLAB, there are NGO opportunities with the UN, with the AU, there are other NGOs, Plan Cameroon, there is IOM, there are many of them. You can all position yourself for that. The opportunities are enormous. But first, identify yourself where you want to go to, and then laser focus. Cameroon is open for residency. And again, you can write the residency exam and go to specialization in Cameroon. That is very easy for all of us. But if you dream big, if you want to go out there, if you think that what you want to do is not going to be taught in Cameroon, then look for other opportunities. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Now, this is a question and answer session. I'm going to stop the screen share, and all of you are free to open your mics, ask the questions that you didn't ask when the speakers were presenting, and then at the end of the Q&A session, we'll plead with you to all turn on your cameras so we have a family selfie, and we'll call it a day. Thank you very much. Hello. So when I look at the chat, I think we handled most of the questions already. We didn't have any particular questions for Dr. Ebia, Dr. Sam. We didn't have any particular questions. So maybe you want to unmute and express yourself. Now is the time. All right, Dr. Teker, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, moderator. My question goes to Dr. Tchinde Marius. He spoke about hospital administration, which can be learned with the bingo. So I wish to know if that can be done online and what is the cost of it. Thank you very much.
All right. Dr. Tchinde, I don't know if you got the question. To the best of my knowledge, before Dr. Tchinde comes to add on that, to the best of my knowledge, I think there should be, it's okay, Dr. Tchinde said the question is not it, all right? So he's definitely going to react to that. So I'll not say one thing that I'm not very certain of. Thank you very much, sir. He's going to come to your question. I don't know if there are any other questions. Anyone wants to express themselves directly. Now is the time.
Maybe I should add that people should not feel shy to ask their questions. Remember that at the end of the day, planning your life is left to you alone to sit and think about it. And there's one thing my mom used to always tell me: information is key, information is vital. If you notice, at the end of every CNN advert, they used to always say it for some time, I think when I was in secondary school: information is key, information is vital. Information rules the world. If you are not well informed, you'll not position yourself. So don't feel shy and be like, oh, maybe I'll come to this person's inbox to ask. No, why? Ask your questions and plan your life. Most times people feel afraid to ask questions. Please don't.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Mbuki, you can unmute.
Thank you very much, doctors, for the amazing session. I got to learn a lot from this session. One thing I noticed from the presenters is that many people started their careers through the Cameroon Baptist Convention. And I wish to find out what is the procedure for one to apply or get enrolled to work under the Cameroon Baptist Convention.
Wow, that's a good remark. And interestingly, all of us on this panel started working on the Cameroon Baptist Convention.
Well,
I even started before defending. I remember I started around July before I even completed.
All right.
Well, I think maybe I just comment on that because
Yes.
that is a pathway. It is not the only path. And like Dr. Cynthia quoted, you must not follow the path that has been there. You can create your own path. You know, one thing you need to understand is the CBC is important. It is a big healthcare organization that employs a good number of people, but that is not the only organization. Yes, one thing that I would say I learned quite a lot because I had the opportunity to be open to opportunities that taught me a lot, the hard work and all. But then it doesn't mean that if you are in a private organization or you're working in the government also, you can still not progress. So in as much as you may be trying to look for an opportunity in the CBC, don't undervalue yourself. Focus more on the skills you're gaining, because when you one thing I want to say is the skills you get that you need, you do them intentionally, not unconsciously. If you want to build a skill in research, you are not going to just be doing things anyhow and expect to be a good researcher. If you want to build a skill in leadership, you will not just do things anyhow. So first of all, get to understand the skills that you need and make sure that the position where you find yourself, you maximize the opportunities there and try to get the skills. But for the CBC, it is still possible. Applications are there. I think maybe Dr. Marius will be better placed to talk about the current recruitment opportunities, because I think I left a year ago and he may be more current with some of the changes that are there. Thank you.
All right. Let me just add to that. Anyway, I happen to work with a CBC, and I know a little bit about the application process. And I think over the years, for all those who graduated from through SRA, I helped I helped a lot of them get that offer. So I'm going to be sharing a link to all of you who have their emails with me at SRA, so that you have that. But first, you need your attestation of completion of studies, or you need a recommendation from your dean saying that you've completed study. You need to show that you're a Christian, because it's a faith-based facility. You need to show that you're a Christian, and so that you need to have a church contribution card or a tithe card, whatever your denomination calls it. Your pastor should also write you a recommendation. Pastor, priest should also write you a recommendation in that line. And then your certificates, from birth certificates to your present certificate. Your present certificate will be your MD certificate that you don't have, so you cover that with your attestation of completion of studies. And then your CV, and there's an application form that you fill and you submit at any of the CBC health facilities. All of you listening here, if you can travel to Bamenda and go and drop it at the head office, drop it. For those of us who are typical Cameroonians who believe in ancestors, if you can drop it in Yaoundé and before it gets to the head office in Bamenda, something happens and Yaoundé does not get there, don't blame your ancestors. But me, I don't give chances. I traveled to Bamenda with my certificate and dropped it at the director's office. I was sure that it was received before I left. So you can send somebody to do that for you as well. So, but that's it. And when that do recommends or call people on a rolling basis, and it doesn't mean that when they call the first set, when you applied and they didn't call you, you should not reapply. Brother, sister, compile those documents again. You don't spend anything, just that photocopy, just make them again and go and drop. This is what I'll tell you, like what Dr. Sam said, the HROs will tell you that they have 30 seconds on a CV. So as those things grow old, the applications keep going down, and there's a tendency to come and pick the new ones that are coming in. So ensure that on any platform where you're applying, I've applied for things. I can tell you that make sure that you always, when there's something opening in that place, send an application. One day, somebody's brain is very interesting. He has unconscious memory. Your name, the HR might say, but I've been seeing this name a lot, and they just for that, they pay keen attention on your document. Maybe it might be the 10th time, it might be the 3rd time, it might be the 1st time. Everyone has their style. So that is it. aside from the Baptists, there are Catholic opportunities. There are many Catholic health centers in the Southwest, in the Northwest, in the littoral region, in the central region. I don't know about the other region, but those are regions that have been there. So the good thing with the Catholic healthcare system is that the hospitals are independent, so they're not centralized. So you need to go there, find out, generally documents are the same, but find out what additional things you need to add, and then you submit. Okay, basically that's it. You can always reach out to us. Again, we'll say networking. We can call somebody who knows us because of the image we have and tell them that, okay, we are sending this person to come and drop documents. That will ensure that you might reach up to the stage of even the interview, but at the interview, you need to prove yourself, because the person will not say that because it's sincere who referred the person that are going to take you. I remember in 2019, several of the graduates got into many opportunities that was due to my work. And the reason was because they also went there and showcased that, well, this guy did not put your name or give a word for people that did not need it. So those are the things that we can say about it. Thank you very much, Dr. Mboke, for that question. It was quite very insightful. Dr. Marius, I don't know if you could take your question. Dr. Take your question. Some of us who are Baha'i. You look for your, I don't know how you call it. The person can give people recommendations.
I don't know. Let me just add to what Dr. Cynthia has said, especially with the comments that Saleh just made. There's one thing that we always think, and I always see this thing. You don't have to always walk the path that has already been walked. You don't have to always follow a particular procedure of doing things. Your head should be at the final destination. And that's the first question you ask yourself as a graduate. What do I want to do? Where am I headed to? If you don't yet know, okay, do I want to gain more experience to know what I might be interested in? Then you look for something broad, and then you do. And then you now think over after 1 year or 2 years, and you say, okay, this is what I want to do. But if you can answer that question early enough, and you know that, okay, this is what will make me happy, then that is what will determine the path that you will take. It is not the path that other people have taken. I'll use an example with myself. I'm very happy to share my story today. I did not take a very common path. True, I moved to the UK, but it was not the same as most of our alumni. In medical school, I was able to go for 2 elective programs out of Cameroon. I went to Nigeria, to Ibadan. I think after that, Sally went after that with Mampe. And then I came to the UK again in 6th year, at the end of my 6th year after ECN, and did an elective program. I was the first person from FHS to come and do that kind of program here. Because in my mind, I knew that, okay, I want to end up here. How do I start moving towards and making my CV align in a way? I knew that, okay, fine. I need to already go and understand how the system functions, and then integrate myself, and then come back and plan on how I can integrate myself. I'm not saying that you should find a program to join now, but I'm just trying to tell you that you can think differently. You understand? You don't need to always follow that particular path, because many people from FHS had Chevening, Commonwealth. It is good to apply, but it does not mean that you must apply. I didn't do Chevening or Commonwealth or any of that. I did not have a scholarship, because I thought to myself, okay, most people who had scholarship had to work 2 to 3 years. How many years? I don't want to do that. I want to finish and move. And so I did not wait. I did not say no, because Dr. Cynthia has been waiting since he finished. Let me also wait and apply for my own and do this and do that. No, you don't. Cynthia is laughing because I'm using him like an example.
It's okay, I'm your mentee. It's okay.
Sorry, I'm just using you like example. No, but honestly, you don't have to wait. You want to go to the US and do USMLE. What stops you from going online? The truth is everything is online. And there are people that can help. We always pull back from reaching out to people. The person who guided me on how to prepare myself for moving to the UK was not from FHS, was not from wherever. I just saw a program that I wanted to apply to, and I wrote an email and I sent it to her, and she replied and she gave me her phone number, and we started communicating. Lo and behold, I told her, okay, I want to move to the UK. Can you help me out? And this particular doctor, I'll withhold her name, sent me her whole profile and everything and said, get this letter, get this. So don't always try to do things because people have been doing it in a particular way. You can always be different. I don't know. And and we should remember that we need to invest in ourselves. I know that money is hard. I know that things are tough. But one thing you need to remember is that for you to gain anything, you must invest. You must spend money on before you work the money. You must do it. People should be ready to sacrifice. These exams are not cheap. Nobody will sugarcoat it and say, oh, PLAB will cost you at least 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. USMLE will cost you even more because if you want only US visa, you're not even sure that they'll give you the visa. You go one time, two times, struggle. So the amount of money, if you think, okay, maybe I don't have family support, I need to work for a while and sacrifice. That sacrifice must be there. Even if you think that you want to write queues and go to Yaoundé, I tell my friends who are doing that exam, I say, see, buy the question banks, spend, prepare for it as if your life depends on that particular thing. Don't say, me, I'm just going to go and write me the exam and see, no, therefore bribing to do that thing. No, me, no. If you go in with that kind of mindset, you will not make it. And one thing I always do is I tell myself, I try to limit my options because that gives me the ability to focus all my energy on one particular thing. If I feel I have so many options, I might be a little bit lukewarm about certain things. So I choose whatever direction I want to take and I focus all my energy there. And I know, you know what, if I don't get this, then I'm done. And that's what I do. So it's just to encourage people. Don't say because Dr. Ebia did it like this, maybe this is how I want to do it. No, there are people who wrote PLAB 1 and PLAB 2 in Cameroon before moving. So they came here, wrote part 1, wrote part 2 before. They did not come here with a master. They did not come here with a scholarship. There are people who came with a scholarship and then wrote the exams here and went back, because usually with these scholarships, you have to go back to your country. They went back and then applied for jobs from that way and came. There are some people like us now in another category that paid the school fees, came here, did the masters, wrote the exams while we're here, and then stayed here and looked for the jobs. So there are so many different, some people go to Belgium while they are doing their arrests, they are writing the exams. I know a few doctors who have done that. Don't limit yourself. Open yourself. That, I don't know if there's another language that I can say it in. I'll really say it so that people get this message.
Dr. Ebia, Mentor, we have another question. Can I, who just defended and have my IELTS, am I eligible for the PLAB?
Once you have completed medical school, you're eligible. So the different thing between PLAB and USMLE is that USMLE you can write while you're in medical school. It's just that people don't know, but that information is online. You can write USMLE part 1 while you're still in medical school, because in the US, they actually write it when they're in medical school. But PLAB, you need to actually finish and then you write it after that. It's true that on the form, they might ask you for some information, when did you finish and all that. At the end of the day, when you're registering with the council, they'll readjust most of that information based on your certificate. Another point that I wanted to bring, that brings me to my next point. I know that Dr. Cynthia is saying that just take your certificate and all the attestations and start. Disclaimer, hustle and get it. If not, we finished, I think we spent how many years? Was it 2 years after? Yes.
Yeah.
And that was after. My batchmates can tell you, Dr. Che is here, Dr. Chuda Leticia is here. They can tell you how much of a fight we had to put up, to get it. get your certificate. Don't listen to no story. Get it. Because there comes to a time where those attestations, you cannot tell me. I used to hold my attestation here, and they'll tell me, and they'll send me emails and say, but how come after 2 years your university has not given you your certificate? That you don't sound serious. You look very ridiculous. So you need to fight for it. Gather your batch, gather your mates, and you guys fight. My own advice to Enya, I will not continue again. Nobody should come and ask me what we did in our class, so because before they say I'm pushing people.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Bia. Thank you very much. That was it. Dr. Meli, your hand is raised. We have like 5 more minutes to round up this question and action session.
Dr. Cynthia, you don't know what you are doing. This is wonderful. See, I'm shivering, you know. So this activity is so interesting. You have been focusing on things that are not really important. We don't have information. We don't gather information. We don't review. We don't. Oh God, this is wonderful. May God bless you, brother. I don't know even know how to thank you. So it's priceless. What you are doing is priceless. The initiative is so good, and I'm so happy to see the doctor who just finished. And we were in Boya together, and I noticed that since we were in school, the way she was behaving, I knew that this girl is a very smart girl, and I'm not surprised to see what she's doing now. So please, I'm begging you, please, can we have the record later of this meeting, please, if you can share it with us. And then moreover, I wanted to ask you if you can create a group chat with the phone number, so that we can keep in touch. So I don't know. I'm speechless. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc. That's so heartwarming. My eyes are very soft, so I will not cry, but thank you very much, Doc. Thank you for that honest remark. It means a lot getting that, and that is why we are here. We want everybody to be better than us. Like I want to use myself as an example. This is my 4th year plus, but end of this year I'll make 5th year since I've been doing this. I have written countless applications for scholarships. Countless. Ebia is here. I reviewed her applications. Yes. And now she's reviewing mine. One thing in life, you don't need to be proud about anything. Anybody can teach you. She's now my mentor and I'm a mentee, but I was happy to mentor her and now she's better than I am. And I'm still proud of that. And we can laugh about it, we can play about it. Dr. Chase here, we were classmates in high school. I got to medical school before him, but we still worked together. He got into medical school. He's completed, we are still friends, we are working. So what I want to tell you today is that have a very gentle spirit and be open and be ready for the challenges of life. If somebody told me I will not be in school in 2022 when I was completing medical school, I'll tell the person is a lie. But yeah, man. But I know my little wins that I celebrate every day, and I keep working and positioning myself for where I think I will be in the nearest future. So that is just like a summary. I have written, Dr. Sam has reviewed my applications for NGOs. He has reviewed my applications for international companies. Dr. Marius is preparing me for PACs. So I'll tell you that I leverage with everybody whom I know I'm going to benefit from them. Irrespective of the fact that we are peers, I may be senior to the person. No, it has nothing to do with that. When you want it, you go for it. You are intrusive, you are intentional, you're determined. And if you're a Christian, God is going to bless that effort. If you fold your hands and pray, nothing will happen. So that's it. I don't know if people have any other questions, but we're already coming to the end of this session. And we'll just want to get your feedback from those of you who've been here from the start. I'm happy. This is a very long webinar, and we are 3 hours already, almost 3 hours, and we are still 41 on the call. I want to really say that it warms my heart to have this number at this point in time. And we are happy to have you listening, but we want to hear your feedback. Okay, we want to get your feedback. All right, so we'll listen to 2, 3, 4, 5 persons who are inspired. Again, we are very simple persons. I'm going to, exceptionally from Dr. Melly's command, I'm going to send our mentorship WhatsApp link in the chat section. You can jump in there. And then I'm going to also send a link to a post on LinkedIn and on Facebook. You're going to follow which one. To just say thank you to our doctors who have taken our time to come and share with you nuggets to make your way smooth. You can just really write the thank you, doctor, for this. Just say thank you for them. Let the world, let them know that they are being appreciated. There's one thing I'll tell you, gratitude is the best form of respect you can give anyone. You recognize that someone helped you, that person will help you time after time. So I'm going to be dropping those links in the chat section. And we're waiting for anyone who wants to talk. We are 40 on the call. Please feel free to unmute and talk. All right, so for everyone, I've dropped the link to our WhatsApp group. So if you are on your phone, you can just click and you jump into the group directly. The link is going to expire after this call. So you can do that very snappy and you'll be fine. Please, we are open for any questions, anything, even just to say thank you, it's okay.
Okay, I just want to say something maybe before. I want to advise those who intend to go to public health because, you know, at times, I know public health at times is used like a means to an end. And, but I want to advise those who actually have a passion for public health because yes, there are people like that. And I want to say it is good, it's a good field. And for those who are intending to do it, this is one secret I want to let you know. This public health depends these days a lot on skills as well as certificate. Yes, the certificate is important, but more so when you have the skills, that is, I would say it is crucial. If you have that desire to do public health and you get into your facility and start working, please attach yourself to a service that has an aspect, a section that ties towards public health. That could be a vaccination service. It could be an HIV unit. It could be NCD's unit. There are a lot of programs that have public health aspects of it. And even for those who want to do hospital management, get close to your hospital director, get close to your economics or those who have done hospital management and try to volunteer your services to them. Because when we talk about volunteering, you must not necessarily go and say, I'll do everything for free. You can still be working and say, okay, director, I am ready to help out with administrative tasks, maybe filing in taxes or filing in some budgeting sessions, or when they need a volunteer for some hospital management committee meetings and all that. Volunteer your services because that is how you learn. please do not think that for public health, you just jump and then it's another field on its own with its own complexities. And that is one difficulty that at times clinicians often feel, okay, when I just get into public health because I am an MD, I have that upper hand. No, it is a field with so much, and it's so a field that involves a lot: research, management, leadership, selflessness. It has a lot to do with other soft skills that you need to master. So please, for those who want to actually get into public health as a specialty or as a field, also know that there are things you can learn even in the clinic before you start branching out into public health. Do not undermine them. Don't just say, well, I am waiting for that NGO job. The question is, by the time you're getting to the NGO, what have you done in public health? There are people when they are going out for outpatient services, community services in the clinic, maybe it doesn't matter. So please often try to volunteer your services in those sections in the hospital that may also involve public health. I'm talking about those who may want to actually end up in that field, because it's another field on its own with its own complexities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. What I want to add to that is we spoke about skills. I will tell you this. I've taken countless certification courses because I'm building skills relevant to a particular field. Okay, that's just it. And when we'll be reviewing people's CVs, those who want us to review the CVs when you send, again, when you're applying for a particular job, there's not one size fits all CV. No, a CV has to always be modified to adjust. And if you say that you've been working in a clinical hospital and you've had experience in managing the emergency unit, definitely if you're applying for an ER job in the UK, that serves as a bonus for you. Okay, plus your certification. If you've taken your ACLS certification already, it completes it all. So those are the things. So now you're thinking, I want to do an ER job outside Cameroon, maybe with an international organization. Let's take, for instance, MSF outside Cameroon, Red Cross outside Cameroon, UN volunteers outside Cameroon. I say, okay, what do I need? I need an ACLS certification, and I need to show that I've been working in a resource-limited setting in an emergency department. So those are some of those things. That's how you organize yourself in your clinical experience. What are those things I need to put in my CV? Build a CV and a personality. That's just what I have to say. I don't know if any other one wants to share any other thing. Please do. We have, let's say, 5 more minutes. We'll end at 5 minutes past 22 hours. Below is the link to a thank you post. I want you all to follow the link and say thank you to our speakers, so that at least we also show them that we appreciate their time.
I think Dr. Milli's hand is raised. I don't know.
Dr. Millie, you can proceed, please.
Okay, Senor, thank you. What I wanted to say, it was on the same line with what my senior Dr. Sam just said concerning the volunteers activity in the various hospitals when you intend to work with any public health program. My experience is that when I was still a senior medical student, I started working in Buddha Health District as a assistant coordinator for HIV clinic. So I worked with them. Even when I graduated, I went back there. I worked for about 1 year before I was sent to regional hospital, where I continued working with the HIV clinic department. Later on, I started working with the COVID-19 regional response team in Pakistan for about 1 year. But later on, I had an opportunity to work with an NGO, and I'm with them for the past 1 year. The chance I had was that I was working already on the field of epidemiology. You see, I was in Buddha, and then later on, I started working with the regional team who were in charge of fighting COVID-19. That's what I wanted to share with the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. That's quite insightful. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much. All right. Any other reactions from the floor? At this point, I want us to turn on our cameras. We'll be doing a family selfie. Please, I've dropped a link to Facebook. The link to LinkedIn is coming up. So just tell our speakers, thank you. Dr. Samuel asks a question. Dr. Sam, please, what are other little certifications to have after obtaining an MPH degree and how one can obtain them?
Thank you. I think while we are doing this, I would say it depends on what you want to do. There are certifications in epidemiology, there are certifications in public health, there are certifications in NCDs. It depends on the path, because I would guarantee public health is vast. It's no longer just standing out and say I'm public health now. Today, if you just stand and say I did MPH, nobody looks at you. When you come out to say I did MPH, what exactly did you do? Even those who did epidemiology, what did they do? Even those who did, there are some who specialize in infectious disease epidemiology. There are some who specialize in NCD epidemiology. So it's so vast. And I cannot tell you that these are all the certifications, because I did project management. I did a certification in project management, PMD for NGO, PMD Pro, that's the certification I took as part of the work I'm doing. So there are other certifications that you want to do, and I would say that the discussion cannot end here. Maybe depending on your field, you can still contact maybe SRA, and we'll try to discuss and see which kind of, what are the things you want to do. SRA currently is offering, working with the University of Washington to offer some of these certifications. Just some certificates, postgraduate certificates that you can have to add. We are offering project management in global health. Currently, the one that is open now is leadership and management in health, health advocacy, and then implementation sciences, which is some other part of research that is growing up right now. So there are many fields, and I cannot tell you that this is the one you need. It depends on your aspirations. It depends on what you have as a career path, and then we can say, okay, maybe this one is what may best suit you, and so on. And different universities offer different certification. I will not come to tell you which one is better than which. There are really many, but take advantage and do something. Add those certifications to your work, because when you do those extra things, it strengthens your knowledge, and when you practice it, it improves your skills that you have. So don't undermine them. And even the MPH is just part of it. But like I said, MPH now is now beginning to be like the specialization in MPH, because you need to specialize in something in public health. It's not everything that you will do in public health. So try as much as possible to identify your path, and then you can then begin to find the certifications that are necessary for that section of work or that specialty you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no questions anymore, we're going to take our family selfie, and then we're going to call it a day. So, please turn on your cameras. We want very broad smiles. It's great to help us show our happy faces. Great. I'll be taking the picture in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Cheese. Great. All right. So that is it. That is our final family selfie. You can share this anywhere on your status, whatever. In the chat section, we've had, I've dropped a link to thank you post. It's just for you to follow the link If you're on Facebook, you can follow Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, which is ideal, follow the link to LinkedIn and say thank you to our speakers. By tomorrow morning, the presentation, the recording will be up and running on all our social media platforms. For those who have never heard about SRA, I'm also dropping in the chat section links to our various pages. You can see the work we've been doing. We are open to those who want to join us in keep creating this impact. And we hope that the more we are, the lighter the work is, and the more effective and the more impact we can create. I am very humbled to be here. I want to thank all our speakers, Dr. Ebiambu, Dr. Sam, and Dr. Tchinde for taking our time to be here. For all our medical doctors who joined, I'm very grateful. The medicals, the fresh medical graduates, I hope this was worth it. I look forward to seeing you people becoming better than some of us, because that is our dream. You can always pull us up when you say that, hey, this was that my grandma helped me. Maybe if I'm walking on road, you can offer me a lift. So it's a win-win for all of us if everyone is better, so that I can sleep and I say, okay, if I get to Boya and I don't have where to sleep, I can call Dr. Keng for that. Hey, Grant, please, can you host me? You know, things like that. If I get to Bamenda, I can call Dr. Girls like, hey, can you host me? So that's it. We are here to make life better for each and every one of us. And I believe that all of us have that one thing that none of us have. And if you can make that one thing, all of us will be better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our After Medical School webinar. I have been your humble moderator, Dr. Sintenge, and it's a pleasure to always have you. And we will look forward to more opportunities to network and build our careers as we keep growing older and wiser. Thank you very much for this session.